Chapter 1084. Just say it. Why are you looking for me? Ning Shu asked Gu Rui. One would not visit a temple for no reason. Gu Rui looked at Ning Shu. I plan to marry you. Ning Shu almost bit her tongue. Why did he suddenly say such a thing? Why? Ning Shu asked. At the same time, she was vigilant. You plan to become my husband and inherit my father's wealth? Gu Rui nodded. I've decided to marry you. But Ning Shu suspected that she was hearing things. She was in disbelief and kept thinking about why Gu Rui wanted to marry her. She had the map and Gu Rui was already in the tomb. She couldn't figure out why Gu Rui wanted to marry her. Forget about love. Gu Rui only had his own goal of reviving his country. Besides, Gu Rui didn't like her at all. Taoist Cheng said that you have the Phoenix Queen fate and I have the dragon aura to protect me. With our luck combined, this trip will definitely be much smoother. The heavens will help the righteous. Gu Rui looked at Ning Shu. You and I will be married. The luck of the country will pour down on us. This time, it will definitely be much smoother. Ning Shu was speechless. What should she say? Ning Shu opened her mouth and paused for a moment before saying, Brother, it's not good to be superstitious. Don't believe in these things. If you agree, let's go through the wedding ceremony now, Gu Rui said. No. Ning Shu hurriedly waved her hand. I haven't thought of getting married yet. When Fang Lanxing came back, she would be a married woman. Furthermore, she would be getting married in front of a corpse. She felt so good. Gu Rui looked at Ning Shu. I'm not good enough. You're handsome and talented. Your appearance is quite good. Can't I give you something to rely on? Mature and steady. Why was sinister? Then why aren't you willing to marry me? Gu Rui raised his eyebrows and asked. Don't you think it's not appropriate for us to talk about this in front of someone's grave? Ning Shu was expressionless. The grave has already been dug up, so it doesn't matter. Gu Rui said lightly. Ning Shu, how arrogant. I won't marry you. You have to be as fat as me to be compatible with me. You're so skinny I don't like you. Ning Shu raised his chin and proudly said, Fang Lanxing, this is a serious matter. Don't be stubborn. Why should I sacrifice my marriage for your damn affairs? What does your affairs have to do with me? What right do you have to ask me? What do I owe you? Do you think that marrying me is a gift to me? If I marry you like this, I'll be climbing up the social ladder. I can't climb up the social ladder, and I don't want to climb up the social ladder. Ning Shu snorted and turned to leave. Gu Rui suddenly reached out and grabbed Ning Shu's wrist. No matter what, from today on, you are my wife. Heaven and earth can bear witness. Get lost. Ning Shu shook off Gu Rui's hand. Are you crazy? Ning Shu's impression of Gu Rui worsened. Gu Rui was still calm. This is just a temporary measure. When we get out of 2 mechs, we won't have anything to do with each other. Ning Shu couldn't help but roll his eyes. Gu Rui, don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. Then what do you think I'm thinking? Gu Rui asked. Ning Shu, who the hell knows? At this moment, Cheng Mingzi walked over and said to Gu Rui, Young Master Gu, find someone strong and skilled in martial arts to go down the tomb to take a look. Take a lamp and keep walking. If the lamp goes out, return immediately. We need to wait for a while before we can go down the tomb. Gu Rui nodded and sent someone down the tomb. This person was tied with a rope and dragged down the tomb. If there was a situation, he would pull on the rope. A group of people waited in the tomb. There were still whimpering sounds coming from inside. After that person went down, they only saw the rope moving. It was pitch black inside, as if it had been swallowed up. The people guarding outside felt their hair stand on end. Ning Shu took out some dry food to eat. No matter what, he had to fill his stomach first. After a while, the rope stopped moving. There was also no movement inside. Gu Rui frowned and reached out to pull on the rope. The rope was very light. Gu Rui closed his eyes. Indeed, the rope was pulled up. The rope had been bitten off by something. But from the beginning to the end, no cries for help could be heard. What exactly is inside? Mo Juechen squatted down and stared at the rope. Ning Shu also looked at the rope. It was wet, which meant that there was water in 2 mechs. Daoist Cheng, can we go in now? Gu Rui asked Daoist Cheng. Daoist Cheng's expression was serious. Young Master Gu, the situation below is more dangerous than we expected. I don't recommend going down. I'm afraid we will die here. Gu Rui was in a daze. Finally, he said, let's go. Life and death are up to fate. Daoist Cheng sighed. I'm willing to enter the tomb with young Master Gu. Enter the tomb, Gu Rui said in a low voice. They tied the rope to a tree not far away and slid down the tomb. There was water in the tomb. It was knee-deep. It was bone-chilling and murky. This tomb was under a swamp. No matter how tight it was, water would have seeped in. Moreover, it had been a few hundred years. The water increased the danger. Who knew what was under the water? It would be a surprise attack when people weren't paying attention. Ning Shu held a lantern-like lamp in his hand, illuminating the surroundings. She could hear the sound of water dripping from the window. After entering the tomb, they couldn't hear the whimpering sounds. It was quiet all around. There was only the sound of people's breathing and their feet moving in the water. Lan Exen, come to my side, Gu Rui suddenly said. He even turned back and held Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu frowned. He didn't let go of Gu Rui. No matter what Gu Rui's motive was, he was willing to protect him. Ning Shu was very happy. Gu Rui's subordinates surrounded Gu Rui, Ning Shu, Daoist Cheng and Mo Juechen. They were obviously protecting them. There was no light at all in the tomb. They couldn't even see their own fingers. They couldn't see the situation in front of them. They walked very slowly. Ning Shu activated the qi in his dantian. He was always prepared. He didn't know what attacked them just now. It would definitely appear. He could vaguely hear something coming towards them. It was rustling. Everyone be careful, Gu Rui said. Something is coming this way. As Gu Rui spoke, he held Ning Shu's hand tightly. There was a rotten stench. It was so smelly that it was almost suffocating. Ning Shu held the lantern and saw black things in the water. These things moved very quickly. In an instant, they covered people and entered people's mouths and stomachs. They didn't even have time to scream before they died. There was no end to these bugs, which gave people goosebumps just by looking at them. Chapter 1085. It's corpse bugs. Run away, Cheng Mingzi said in a low voice. Corpse bugs were a common burial bug, but there were so many of them that it was frightening. Those who knew martial arts reacted immediately. They used their qinggong and ran forward quickly. Those who couldn't run in time were covered by the corpse bugs and turned into bones. Soon even the bones disappeared. These corpse bugs had mutated under the corpse cultivation ground. If these corpse bugs were released, it would be a disaster. No matter how small something was, it would be terrifying if it grew to a large scale. Ants could even kill an elephant. Gu Rui pulled Ning Shu and used his qinggong. Ning Shu had a direct understanding of Gu Rui's martial arts. He could still run ahead while dragging her, who was overweight. When the smell of the corpse bugs disappeared, everyone stopped. The place where they stopped should be higher than the entrance, because the tunnel was dry and there was no water. Gu Rui let go of Ning Shu's hand. He was panting. Mo Juechen was panting with his hands on his knees. Ning Shu took a look. There were more than 20 people before, but now there were only a dozen. Half of them were gone in the first wave. They didn't know what would happen next. Let's go quickly in case the corpse bugs catch up, Cheng Mingzi said. Everyone started walking again before they could even catch their breath. However, there was no water in the tunnel, so it wasn't that tiring to walk. As Ning Shu walked, she observed the situation in the corridor to see if there were any traps or something like that. It was a smooth journey. They didn't encounter any traps. It was so smooth that it felt abnormal. Gu Rui stopped and said to Cheng Mingzi, Daoist Cheng, let's rest for a while. From beginning to end, other than encountering corpse bugs, they didn't encounter any other dangers. Everyone was afraid that their graves would be dug up after they died, so they tried to increase the number of traps in their graves. However, they didn't encounter any traps along the way. This was really abnormal. The words death ground were messily carved on the stone slab. This situation had nothing to do with a death ground. Could there be a big move at the back? Was this just to lower their guard? Cheng Mingzi shook her head. Young Master Gu, you have to be careful. It's very dangerous here. Gu Rui nodded. Be careful everyone. Let's continue. They continued to walk forward. Gu Rui kept holding Ning Shu's hand and didn't let go. It looked quite romantic, but Ning Shu was extremely vigilant. After walking for a long time, they still couldn't see the end of the road. Moreover, the terrain was getting higher and higher because the soil under their feet was very dry. Could it be that they were inside the mountains? Moreover, they didn't encounter any danger along the way. It was very smooth. This caused everyone to feel even more uneasy. Cheng Mingzi pinched his fingers together, his expression abnormally solemn. Mo Juchen clenched his fists tightly. Ning Shu had goosebumps all over his body ever since he entered the tomb. This was the body's perception of danger. In such a situation he should have turned around and run, but now he had to bite the bullet. Rest for a while, Gu Rui said. Ning Shu plopped down on the ground, feeling as comfortable as he could. Ning Shu took out some food to eat. When people were nervous, they would get hungry quickly. The others also took out food to eat. Mo Juchen suddenly said to Gu Rui, we're in the same boat now. You should tell us everything you know. We should share information. You know everything I know. This is my first time in this tomb. I don't know more than you. Since we're already here, we should be very careful. Mo Juchen wiped his face. Gu Rui, do you think this is the first day I've met you? If you didn't hide anything, I would have taken your surname. Gu Rui shook his head. There's nothing to hide from you. Mo Juchen wiped his face in frustration. Ning Shu felt that Mo Juchen was very agitated. Under such a low pressure, everyone was under a lot of pressure. Mo Juchen's frustration affected the people around him. Ning Shu recited the clear heart mantra in his heart. Young Master Mo, please suppress the agitation in your heart. I've already said that you could easily get into trouble in the tomb, Cheng Mingzi said. If you continue lecturing me, I'll kill you. Mo Juchen glared at Cheng Mingzi, his eyes red. Ning Shu looked at Mo Juchen and wondered if he was going to go berserk. Mo Juchen felt irritated when he saw everyone staring at him. Mo Juchen felt that many people were staring at him. There was an aura here that he hated. It was suppressing him and making him feel very uncomfortable. There was anger in his heart that he couldn't vent. Gu Rui looked at Mo Juchen and asked, "What's wrong?" "I don't feel good," Mo Juchen said irritably. Cheng Mingzi flicked her horsetail whisk and said, "Young master, you have too many bad karma." "Bad karma?" Mo Juchen sneered. "If you do it again, I'll still kill those who deserve to die." Cheng Mingzi didn't say anything. She just smiled. Ning Shu looked at Mo Juchen's bloodshot eyes. Could it be that his meridians were going against the flow and he was about to go crazy? It would be a joke if he went berserk on his own without encountering any danger. Let's continue walking. Gu Rui pulled Ning Shu away. Mo Juchen rubbed his forehead and shook his dizzy head before following the group. After walking for some time, they finally reached the end of the passageway. They were blocked by a stone door. There were 2 squatting stone lions on both sides of the stone door. These stone lions were blood red and looked very frightening. This stone door looked very heavy. Do we have to rely on people to open it? Everyone looked at Gu Rui. Gu Rui stared at the stone lions and didn't say anything. Is there a way to enter? Mo Juchen asked. Gu Rui looked at Ning Shu and pulled out a dagger. He pulled Mo Juchen's hand and cut it before pressing it against the stone lions. The stone lions started to absorb Mo Juchen's blood. What are you doing? Mo Juchen's expression was very ugly. He stared at Gu Rui unkindly. Gu Rui let go of Mo Juchen's hand and said, "If I'm not wrong, these stone lions are the mechanism to open the stone door. Why don't you cut your hand?" Mo Juchen stared at Gu Rui unkindly. "You said you didn't hide anything from me. How do you know about this? I have my ways. Don't forget that the Grand Tutor was appointed by the Jia Nation's royal family." Gu Rui stared at the stone door and explained without any sincerity. When the blood was completely absorbed by the stone lions, the stone door actually started to open. Ning Shu stared at the stone door. How did it open? It didn't make any sense. Did I trigger some mechanism and the stone door opened? His feet trembled slightly. When the stone door opened completely, a strange smell came from inside. Chapter 1086. Logically speaking, a place like a graveyard should have a rotten smell. However, Ning Shu smelled a fresh floral scent. It was simply too strange. You guys smell it too? Ning Shu asked. Gu Rui nodded. His expression was a little strange. It was obvious that something was out of his expectations. To prevent anything from happening, we should wait for a while before entering, Qing Mingzi said. Gu Rui shook his head. We can't wait. This stone door will close after a certain period of time. Ning Shu and Emoju Chen asked in unison, How do you know? Now is not the time to ask such questions. Gu Rui pulled Ning Shu through the stone door. The people behind hurriedly followed. The stone door closed with a bang. The moment they walked through the stone door, Ning Shu felt as if he had walked into a fairyland. The ground was covered with tender green grass. There were even trees. There was a meticulously paved cobblestone road. There were even fake mountains, small rivers, and stone bridges. This didn't look like a graveyard. It looked more like a luxurious courtyard. There were even lotus flowers blooming in the pond, emitting a fresh scent. It was a world full of vitality. However, it was very strange in a graveyard. Was it an illusion? How did these plants survive without sunlight? The room was only as bright as day because of the countless night pearls. Ning Shu squatted down and took out the dagger in his calf. He used the dagger to poke the grass on the ground. The grass was normal. The soil was normal too. This was the strangest graveyard Ning Shu had ever seen. What kind of power allowed these plants to survive in the absence of sunlight? Everyone was a little confused. If they were facing something disgusting and challenging, they would have been mentally prepared. However, they really didn't expect to see such a scene. Gu Rui, what's going on? This graveyard isn't built like a palace, right? Even in such an environment, Mo Juchen still felt very uncomfortable. There was an indescribable pressure in his heart. Gu Rui was also a little confused. Things had changed. Someone's coming. Ning Shu heard footsteps. Everyone immediately hid behind the fake mountains. Ning Shu stuck his neck out and peeked at the footsteps. How could there be anyone in such a place? There were only 5 people. Their faces were deathly still, and their clothes were already very tattered. These 5 people were lined up as if they were patrolling. However, their gazes were empty and empty. They weren't focused on anything and their skin was green. Everyone's footsteps seemed to have been measured beforehand. Everyone's footsteps were uniform and incomparably mechanical. These must be monsters. What are these monsters? How are they still alive? Ning Shu turned back to look at Gu Rui. Gu Rui's eyes were fixed on the 5 people who were patrolling. His eyes were burning. After the monsters left, they came out from behind the rockery. What was the situation now? They were here to rob a tomb. Why did it seem like they were barging into someone's house? There's a living person in this tomb? Mo Juchen was confused. Impossible, impossible. Gu Rui said resolutely. Ning Shu stared at Gu Rui. He felt that Gu Rui had been to this place before. Even if he hadn't, he definitely knew about the situation in the cemetery. Gu Rui hurried to a place. They arrived at a dazzling palace with a coffin in the middle. Ning Shu, this kind of tomb really made Ning Shu confused. Why were there no traps, hidden weapons, or ghosts? There was nothing at all. It was so elegant and refined. It was different from the other seductive tombs. Gu Rui kowtowed twice to the coffin and muttered, State Tutor, I am the Prince of Jia Country. Now that Jia Country has been destroyed, I want to revive it, but I don't have the strength. Ning Shu couldn't be bothered to listen to Gu Rui. He could even do something like digging up someone's tomb. Now, he was kowtowing and saying such things. He was simply speechless. Ning Shu was more concerned about why the plants in this cemetery could grow. How could they grow without sunlight? Mo Juchen's gaze was fixed on a book on the table beside the coffin. His breathing quickened. He couldn't take his eyes off the martial arts manual. His footsteps unconsciously moved towards it. Mo Juchen's body flashed and he grabbed the manual. He didn't even look at it before stuffing it into his arms. Mo Juchen grabbed the manual, but Gu Rui grabbed something that looked like a bell. The bell swayed, but it didn't make any sound. Let's go. Gu Rui pulled Ning Shu towards the door. Ning Shu was a little confused. He looked at the bell in Gu Rui's hand. Could it be that Gu Rui's goal was this string of bronze bells? Ning Shu was pulled along by Gu Rui as they ran quickly. However, the entire cemetery was restless. The orderly footsteps caused the ground beneath their feet to tremble. Someone was chasing after them. These people were wearing armor and holding spears. Their eyes were very dull. Gu Rui looked at these monsters. His eyes flashed with a fanatical light. He was still quite calm, but he was about to crush Ning Shu's wrist. These monsters neatly approached the group of people. Gu Rui held the bronze bell in one hand and said in a low voice, "I offer you the soul of my closest kin." Gu Rui shook the bronze bell. "I offer you the blood of my closest kin." Gu Rui's low and sinister voice sounded in Ning Shu's ears. The monsters who heard these two sentences stopped in their tracks. They didn't move. So, blood? He wanted to sacrifice her alive. Ning Shu took advantage of Gu Rui shaking the bronze bell to kick Gu Rui's heart. Gu Rui didn't notice and was kicked back a few steps by Ning Shu's powerful kick. However, he grabbed Ning Shu's arm tightly and dislocated Ning Shu's arm. Ning Shu's face paled from the pain. He pulled out a dagger with his other hand and was about to stab Gu Rui's hand. Gu Rui seemed to be a little afraid of getting hurt and let go of Ning Shu's hand. "Catch her!" Gu Rui called his subordinates with a sullen face. More than 10 people immediately surrounded Ning Shu. Ning Shu stared at Gu Rui. "What do you mean?" "It means what you see. I want to sacrifice your soul and blood to the bell of life and death." Gu Rui said lightly. "I mean..." Ning Shu stared at the bronze bell in Gu Rui's hand. "You are my closest kin. Naturally, I want to sacrifice you." Gu Rui said lightly. When did I become your closest kin?" Ning Shu pointed at himself. "Gu Rui, you are crazy. You are my empress." "Ning Shu, Peace Queen." Ning Shu held the dagger tightly. So he was waiting for her here. She was confused before. Why did Gu Rui want to marry her? So he was waiting for her here. Using souls and blood as a sacrifice, this was an evil thing. She knew that there was no such thing as a free lunch. Even if there was, it would be a poisonous one. Could it be that there were other requirements for this sacrifice? Ning Shu stared at the bronze bell and said angrily, "Gu Rui, you stole my things and now you want to sacrifice me. Has your conscience been eaten by a dog?" Chapter 1087. Not only did he steal her things, but he also wanted her life. What did the Fong family do to Gu Rui? Why did he have such a clear conscience? This thing doesn't belong to your family. Our ancestors were betrayed and took away the map. This thing doesn't belong to your family. What do you mean? Are you saying that my ancestors betrayed you? Ning Shu asked with a frown. Capture her, Gu Rui said indifferently. Gu Rui's subordinate Ning Shu surrounded them. Ning Shu covered her mouth and nose and sprinkled a handful of poison on them. She couldn't win against this group of people. As soon as the poison touched their faces, their bodies went limp and they lost all their strength. With a plop, they fell to the ground. Ning Shu kicked a person away and jumped out of the encirclement. She looked at Gu Rui warily as she retreated. Gu Rui frowned and looked at his men lying on the ground. He was a little anxious and said to Ning Shu, "I underestimated you." Ning Shu walked over and put on a defensive posture. "Gu Rui, why are you sacrificing me? You don't have the right. You are my wife and the empress of Jia country. It is your honor to sacrifice for the country." Ning Shu reached out. "When you become the bell of life and death, you can be with me forever." Ning Shu, who wants to be with you forever? She was a mission enforcer. If her soul was sacrificed, she wouldn't be able to go back. Besides, she didn't even know if her soul still existed after the sacrifice. Then the original owner, Fang Lanxin, must have been sacrificed to the bell of life and death. Ning Shu sprinkled a handful of poison on Gu Rui, but Gu Rui didn't react at all. Ning Shu even smiled gently. "My body is immune to poison. You don't know how much pain I went through to revive the country." Ning Shu. Damn. This guy must have soaked in all kinds of medicine since he was young to be immune to poison. Her poison didn't work. Ning Shu quickly retreated. I advise you not to run around. This graveyard is not as beautiful as it seems, Gu Rui said in a low voice. He then turned to Emo Juechen, who was watching from the side, and said, "Help me catch her." Emo Juechen shrugged. "I've already gotten what I wanted. I don't care about anything else." Gu Rui wasn't angry. He said to Emo Juechen indifferently, "If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have been able to leave this tomb. Are you sure?" Emo Juechen's expression changed. "I hate dealing with people like you the most. I hate you even more than those sanctimonious sections." In order to achieve his own goal, Gu Rui could use any means, and he was even better at catching other people's weaknesses. To put it nicely, he was wise and farsighted. With the pearl of wisdom in his hand, he could determine victory from 1,000 miles away. To put it bluntly, he was despicable and shameless. Emo Juechen had surrounded Ning Shu, and together with Cheng Mingzi, they were attacking Ning Shu from 3 sides. Ning Shu took a deep breath and asked again, "Gu Rui, did you kill my father?" "Your father was infected with an epidemic," Gu Rui said indifferently. "I've never thought of doing anything to your father." There were many ways to be infected with an epidemic. Ning Shu deeply suspected that there was more to Old Master's death. If Old Master knew that he was going to die, he would definitely have passed the map to his closest kin. Fang Lanxin was only 14 years old. She had no one to rely on after her father died. She could only rely on Gu Rui now. Ning Shu didn't know how Gu Rui had gotten the map in the original plot. Ning Shu even suspected that Fang Lanxin had given it to Gu Rui voluntarily. Must I be the sacrifice? Ning Shu's face darkened. Why must it be me? Gu Rui raised the bronze bell in his hand. Because you and I are husband and wife. You also have the destiny of an empress. Of course, you're the most suitable. Ning Shu was speechless. Damn fatty, why are you struggling? Hurry up and don't waste our time. Emo Juechen was a little impatient. He wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. Fuck, you're not the one sacrificing. If you have the ability, you can run into the knife's edge. Ning Shu said in disgust. Ning Shu activated the chi in his energy center. He didn't dodge anymore. He held the dagger and rushed towards Gu Rui. Gu Rui wanted her life. She would kill Gu Rui first. So what if he had the dragon chi protecting him? Let's see who will kill who. Ning Shu stabbed at Gu Rui with the dagger. Gu Rui dodged Ning Shu's attack and tried to control Ning Shu. The two of them started fighting with their bare hands. Ning Shu clenched his teeth. Gu Rui's martial arts weren't weak. Ning Shu couldn't kill Gu Rui for the time being. This man usually didn't show off, but he had a lot of skills. Ning Shu grabbed the bronze bell in Gu Rui's hand. He wanted to snatch it away. Let go. Gu Rui's face darkened. Ning Shu held the bell. He felt that the bell was bone-chilling, as if it could freeze his soul. Ning Shu held the bell in one hand and the dagger in the other. He stabbed at the bell fiercely. She wanted to destroy this thing. Fang Lanxin, stop. Gu Rui reached out his hand to stop Ning Shu. Ning Shu activated the chi in his energy center. He stabbed the dagger at the bronze bell with the fastest speed and greatest strength. It made a sharp sound. A thin crack appeared on the bell of life and death. These neatly arranged monsters immediately started to attack the living people. The people lying on the ground without any resistance were more unlucky. They were directly pierced by the spear. Fang Lanxin. Gu Rui's eyes were red. He looked at Ning Shu with a twisted face. This was the first time Ning Shu saw such emotions. Ha! Ning Shu laughed heartily. If I don't have a good time, everyone won't have a good time. I offer my closest soul to thee. I offer my closest blood to thee. Gu Rui hurriedly chanted an incantation. He actually grabbed Emo Juechen and stabbed him in the heart with the dagger. Emo Juechen's expression was a little dazed. He clearly didn't expect Gu Rui to suddenly attack. I offer my closest soul to thee. I offer my closest blood to thee. Gu Rui's chanting became more and more hurried. He shook the bell of life and death. The monsters had already stopped attacking. Emo Juechen clutched his chest. Blood spurted out from between his fingers. His expression was ferocious and terrifying. Gu Rui, you dare to touch me? It's your fortune to be sacrificed to the bell of life and death. Gu Rui had no choice. If he had a choice, he wouldn't choose Mo Juechen, who had negative karma. Instead, he would choose Fang Lanxin, who had the Empress's fate. Furthermore, Fang Lanxin was his closest kin. It was easier for him to control the bell of life and death. Mo Juechen quickly stopped breathing. His eyes were empty. It was obvious that his soul had left his body. His body slowly turned into powder. Ning Shu's pupils constricted. She was Gu Rui's first choice. Did that mean Mo Juechen was the backup? Gu Rui's expression turned ugly when he saw the crack on the bell of life and death. He turned to look at Ning Shu. Young Master Gu, this bell of life and death can only sacrifice one person at a time, Qing Mingzi said. The bell of life and death is damaged. Furthermore, the person sacrificing is someone who hates you. I'm afraid it will backfire on you. Chapter 1088. Gu Rui's expression turned ugly when he heard Qing Mingzi say that the bell of life and death would backfire on him. He looked at the small crack on the bell of life and death before turning to look at Ning Shu. Ning Shu shrugged and said with a sincere expression, "What a pity." Ning Shu heaved a sigh of relief. Since there was already someone to sacrifice, she wasn't afraid at all since she could only sacrifice one soul at a time. Gu Rui asked Qing Mingzi, "Can't we sacrifice two people?" Qing Mingzi shook her head. "There are two souls in the bell of life and death. They will fight with each other, which will affect your control of the bell of life and death." Ning Shu frowned. Wouldn't the soul disappear immediately after being swallowed by the bell of life and death? "Thank you," Gu Rui said as he picked up the manual that Mo Juechen had left behind. Ning Shu clicked his tongue. In the end, Mo Juechen had worked hard for someone else. Perhaps Gu Rui had tricked Mo Juechen. Hence, intelligence was very important. Mo Juechen had too much faith in his strength. Intelligent people could control their strength. "Young Master Gu, can you help me find the item now?" Qing Mingzi asked. Gu Rui nodded. "Of course. Do you know where it is?" "Gu Rui, the grass is green here. It must be here." Qing Mingzi stroked her beard. Gu Rui nodded and raised the bell of life and death. The bell of life and death didn't make any sound, but these monsters stared at it with empty eyes. Gu Rui shook the bell of life and death rhythmically as he muttered something. These monsters immediately dispersed as if they were looking for something. Ning Shu looked at these monsters and Gu Rui warily. Gu Rui controlled these monsters just like that? Gu Rui ignored Ning Shu as if he had already given up on killing Ning Shu. However, Ning Shu was still scared. The sense of danger didn't decrease at all. Ning Shu didn't think that Gu Rui would let him leave the tomb alive. "Taoist, where do you think that item is?" Gu Rui asked Qing Mingzi calmly. Qing Mingzi flung her horsetail whisk. "It's in this tomb." Gu Rui thought for a while and went to the hall where the coffin was placed. Ning Shu followed along and looked at the gorgeous coffin. After 200 or 300 years, the coffin still looked as beautiful as new. A glazed coffin. Taoist priest, could it be in the mouth of the state preceptor? Gu Rui, the ancient people would stuff something into their mouths when they were placed in a coffin, which was called a mouth money. Were they trying to pry open the coffin? For some reason, Ning Shu always felt that Gu Rui had a similar feeling of disgust towards this state preceptor. Digging up graves and coffins without any psychological burden. "I don't agree with opening the coffin. This place is a corpse-nurturing ground. If we open the coffin and let the corpses inside smell human energy, they will definitely come back to life," Ning Shu objected. Gu Rui narrowed his eyes and ignored Ning Shu. Instead, he said to Qing Mingzi, "Taoist priest, what do you think?" This penniless Taoist feels that the chances of this thing being in the mouth are not high. If it is in the mouth, it will not be able to make the grass green and flowers bloom. Qing Mingzi shook her head and said. Ning Shu was speechless. Was he treating her like she was invisible? Ning Shu wondered what Qing Mingzi was looking for. That thing could make the grass green and plants grow normally. It must be a treasure. Gu Rui shook the bell of life and death, and the monsters gathered from all directions. Gu Rui frowned. These immortal monsters clearly did not find anything. "Young Master Gu, These are monsters without intelligence. It is normal that they can't find anything. As Cheng Mingzi spoke, she took out 3 copper coins from her cloth bag. It looked like she was going to do a divination. Cheng Mingzi placed the copper coins in the turtle shell and shook them twice before pouring them out. The divination shows that it is northwest. Cheng Mingzi's face was a little pale. This thing should be northwest. Gu Rui shook the bell of life and death, and all the monsters headed northwest to search for something. Ning Shu saw that Gu Rui was so familiar with the bell of life and death, and vaguely understood why the state preceptor disappeared after the establishment of the Jia kingdom. With such combat power, the royal family would definitely not be at ease. A man's wealth was his own ruin. These immortal monsters that did not eat or drink were simply great killing machines. After the state preceptor died, it seemed like the royal family of the Jia kingdom had come to dig up the grave more than once. Otherwise, why would Gu Rui be so familiar with this place? It was just that the map disappeared later. Ning Shu just watched silently. She wanted to see what kind of treasure it was. In the northwest direction, there was a stream of water. There were lotus flowers growing in the water. The lotus flowers were budding and swaying gently. They were elegant and beautiful. It was hard to believe that they grew in a tomb. Ning Shu looked at the glass coffin. She could vaguely see a person lying inside, motionless. Was it a man or a woman lying inside? Ning Shu's intuition told her that it was a woman because the surrounding decorations were very feminine. Which man's tomb was full of grass, flowers, and flowing water? Ning Shu really wanted to open the coffin to take a look. Ning Shu patted her hands. She could not die. Gu Rui glanced at Ning Shu. Ning Shu asked Gu Rui, "Is the state preceptor male or female?" "Male," Gu Rui said. "Male?" Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu originally thought that this was a great love song. Some man must have specially arranged this place for the woman in the coffin. It turned out to be a fucking man. "Taoist, we don't have much time. We can't keep staying here," Gu Rui said with a frown. Cheng Mingzi looked a bit disappointed. It seemed that she was not destined to get that thing in this life. She immediately said, "Mister, then let's go now." Gu Rui shook the bell of life and death. The monsters gathered together and followed behind Gu Rui. Ning Shu hurried to follow. He did not want to be abandoned here. "Catch her," Gu Rui suddenly pointed at Ning Shu and said. Ning Shu stretched out his hand. Ning Shu quickly climbed up the rockery and looked down at Gu Rui. "Gu Rui, what do you mean? You have no value anymore. You can die here," Gu Rui said lightly. "The state preceptor is too lonely here. Accompany him for me." Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu kicked away the monster that climbed up and said to Gu Rui, "Gu Rui, what grudge do I have with you? Why do you have to treat me like this?" Ning Shu used a dagger to cut off the monster's neck. There was no blood at all. The muscles were pale. The monster that had its neck cut off could actually recover and be intact? What kind of power was this? It was worse than death. The zombies died after their heads were blown off. Ning Shu took out a talisman from his purse and stuck it on the monster's head. Freeze. The monsters were frozen. Chapter 1089. The monster with the talisman was frozen. Ning Shu thought it would work, but the talisman slowly turned black and turned into ashes. With the talisman burned, the monster regained its ability to move. Ning Shu stared blankly and kicked the monster away. What the hell? Did it have no weakness at all? "Gu Rui, what grudge do I have with you?" Surrounded by so many monsters, Ning Shu was a bit flustered. These monsters were as hard as iron and didn't know fatigue. There were so many of them that Ning Shu was exhausted. If your ancestors didn't steal the map, Jia country wouldn't have been destroyed. We wouldn't have been forced to abdicate, Gu Rui said coldly. Ning Shu, exercise? What a joke. A map could determine the destruction of a country. Jia country didn't perish. It was the royal family that perished. The rebels who ascended to the throne slaughtered all the royal family members of Jia country. It was normal for history to change. Gu Rui blamed the destruction of Jia country on the Fong family. Ning Shu knew that Gu Rui was probably the one who killed the old man. This matter would only get more messy if he couldn't cut it off. Ning Shu didn't know if the ancestors of the Fang family stole the map. The rise and fall of a country actually depended on this thing that was neither human nor ghost. Ning Shu was exhausted. These monsters were too strong. They were so strong but couldn't be killed. They really had no weakness at all. Ning Shu stared at the bell of life and death in Gu Rui's hand. It must be the power of the bell of life and death that prevented these monsters from being smashed. Ning Shu kicked the monster in front of him. He jumped down the fake mountain and rushed towards Gu Rui. Ning Shu activated the energy in his dantian and ran in front of Gu Rui like a gust of wind. He wanted to snatch the bell of life and death from Gu Rui. Gu Rui snorted. Last time, there was a crack on the bell of life and death. This time, there was another crack. Fang Lanxin, don't force me to be ruthless, Gu Rui said fiercely. He fought with Ning Shu and pushed Ning Shu towards the monster. Ning Shu grabbed Gu Rui's arm tightly. Let's die together. Young Master Gu, the most important thing now is to get out of here. The longer we stay here, the more dangerous it will be. Cheng Mingzi could not help but speak up when she saw the two of them locked in a fierce battle. Gu Rui stared at Ning Shu, who was holding his arm tightly, and snorted, "Let go." Gu Rui was too lazy to pay attention to Ning Shu. He dragged Ning Shu towards the sect, but the stone door was tightly shut. Mr. Gu? Cheng Mingzi looked at Gu Rui. Gu Rui picked up the bell of life and death and shook it slowly. Ning Shu saw Gu Rui ring the life and death bell and immediately jumped up. His legs clamped around Gu Rui's waist and his hands tightly wrapped around Gu Rui's neck. Fang Lanxin, get down here, Gu Rui said coldly. Ning Shu looked at Gu Rui's white neck and really wanted to break it. Gu Rui wanted to kill her, so she had to make the first move. I advise you to give up. If I die here, you won't be able to get out. Gu Rui felt the arm around his neck getting tighter and tighter. He sneered. Ning Shu did not say anything. No matter what, he had to get out first. Gu Rui shook the life and death bell. These monsters stared at the life and death bell without focus. Gu Rui did not know what he was saying. Ning Shu could not hear what he was saying even if he got closer. Suddenly, a monster reached out from behind Cheng Mingzi. It stabbed into Cheng Mingzi's back and pulled out a beating heart. Fresh blood splattered everywhere. Ugh. Cheng Mingzi looked at Gu Rui in shock. Gu Rui said faintly, Daoist Cheng, I'm sorry. Someone has to die when we get out. Gu Rui carried Ning Shu on his back and took the heart that was splattered with fresh blood. He placed it in a small hole. The heart rolled and disappeared. Ning Shu's heart could not help but beat wildly. Gu Rui did not even blink when he killed people. Sure enough, all the calmness was a lie. Where did this heart go? Ning Shu suddenly asked. Gu Rui paused and said in a low voice, Oh no. Ning Shu could not help but wipe his face. Gu Rui stared at the stone door. The stone door slowly opened, but it opened very slowly. Ning Shu wrapped around Gu Rui's neck tightly and clamped his legs around Gu Rui's waist. They had to get out. If they did not get out, they would really be waiting for death. Gu Rui was a bit out of breath. It was obvious that such a heavy Ning Shu hanging on his body was a burden to him. A loud roar was heard, followed by a loud bang. The zombie came out. Ning Shu said in a low voice, If one did not seek death, they would not die. Gu Rui's face turned ugly. That heart must have been eaten by the zombie. He was deceived. The ancestors' letter deceived him. A man in gorgeous clothes walked like the wind towards them. His clothes were already rotten and turned into powder as he walked. His figure was not bad. He had a mermaid's waistcoat and played with birds. However, he was ugly with a green face and fangs. Wherever he walked, the grass withered. Ning Shu's pupils constricted. Hitorigami. This was something that was several levels higher than the zombie. Once the Hitorigami appeared, the country would be in a drought and thousands of miles of land would be scarlet. As long as the Hitorigami appeared, there would be a drought. The Hitorigami moved very quickly and reached the dead Cheng Mingzi's side in a flash. The Hitorigami grabbed Cheng Mingzi's body. Half-finger-long fangs grew out of his mouth and bit Cheng Mingzi's neck. Although the heart was dug out, there was still blood in the body. The Hitorigami sucked the blood. As if it was not satisfied at all, it threw Cheng Mingzi's body away like a sack. Then, it sucked the blood of Gu Rui's subordinates who were still alive one by one. Everyone's faces were filled with horror. The corpses that had been sucked dry became extremely shriveled. After sucking the blood of a few people, the Hitorigami still did not seem satisfied. Its sharp fangs were still stained with blood. It was extremely ugly. The Hitorigami's gaze swept across everyone present and the monsters. Finally, it fixed its gaze on Ning Shu and Gu Rui. "Come down, I'll pull you and run. You're too heavy. Both of us can't run." Under the Hitorigami's gaze, Gu Rui's blood turned cold. Ning Shu did not believe Gu Rui's words. She did not believe a single word. If she really got down from Gu Rui's body, she would immediately be pushed in front of the Hitorigami as a human shield. Then he would run away by himself. Gu Rui had no morals at all. First, he killed Mo Juechen. Then he killed Cheng Mingzi. If you played with such a person, you would be stabbed in the back if you were not careful. Gu Rui shook the bell of life and death in his hand. These monsters charged towards the Hitorigami as if they were not afraid of death. Black and red sharp nails grew out of the Hitorigami's fingers and slashed at the monsters that were charging over. The monsters were like a piece of paper that was torn into two by the Hitorigami's nails. The monsters that were killed by the Hitorigami were thought to be revived. However, they were turned into a pile of powder. Chapter 1090. These monsters couldn't even be considered zombies. He didn't know what methods were used to make these monsters lose their consciousness. Facing Hitorigami, they could only be code. Ning Shu's eyelids twitched wildly. If this force went out, it would basically be lawless. It might even slaughter a village. It would be invincible in the world. Gu Rui's body trembled slightly. He saw that the stone door had been opened. It was wide enough for one person to go out. Gu Rui didn't care about these monsters. The most important thing now was to get out alive. Gu Rui bit his cheeks tightly. There were tears in his eyes. In the end, all his efforts were in vain. This feeling was worse than death. He fell from the clouds to hell. With these monsters blocking, it was enough for Gu Rui to rush out of the stone door. The moment he rushed out of the stone door, Gu Rui suddenly pulled out a dagger and stabbed it into the hand around his neck. Then he stabbed the dagger into Ning Shu's leg. Ning Shu was caught off guard and was stabbed in the arm by the dagger. His body shivered. Gu Rui's hand was covered in blood. He pulled Ning Shu's arm away and threw Ning Shu into the stone door. Ning Shu was thrown to the ground by Gu Rui. He didn't care about the wounds on his body. He got up and rushed to the door. Gu Rui ran out of the stone door. He pressed his hand covered in Ning Shu's blood on the stone lion. The stone door closed with a bang. Gu Rui collapsed on the ground. He hugged his head with both hands. His body trembled slightly. He seemed to be crying. Ning Shu, fuck, just a little more. Gu Rui, bastard. Ning Shu clung to the wall tightly. He watched Hitorigami kill the monsters like drawing paper. He was so scared. Ning Shu slowly moved his body, preparing to hide. However, his body was covered in blood. The smell of blood was like a lighthouse in the night to Hitorigami. It was very obvious. If she could go back alive, she must kill that bastard Gu Rui. At this point, Gu Rui still wanted to kill him. So many monsters were killed by Hitorigami. Seeing this scene, Ning Shu's flesh was trembling. Damn Xiao Tianquan. After killing all the monsters, Hitorigami Ning Shu walked over. In a flash, he arrived before Ning Shu. Ning Shu quickly took out a talisman and stuck it on Hitorigami's forehead. This was a very complicated spell that she had learned from the spell tree. The Hitorigami was immobilized. Ning Shu began to run. In just a breath's time, the talisman on Drought Demon's head turned black and burned into ashes. Hanba walked like the wind. Ning Shu chased after him. Ning Shu turned around and saw Hanba. His heart was burning with anxiety. She had become the dog with nowhere to hide. Ning Shu stopped in his tracks and took out everything in the pouch. He sprinkled poison, cinnabar, and rooster blood on the approaching Hanba. If she had known earlier, she would have brought some melodramatic blood. When the cinnabar splashed onto Hanba's body, His skin sizzled and black spots appeared on his green skin. Hanba lowered his head and looked at his body. Ning Shu cast a spell. The talisman floated towards Hanba. The talisman stuck to Hanba's body. Hanba roared in pain. But soon, the talisman turned black and turned into ashes. Ning Shu was burning with anxiety. He took out all his stock. But it didn't cause any substantial damage to Hanba. What to do? Ning Shu didn't dare to use her own flesh and blood to hit Hanba's body. The monster's tough body was torn apart by Hanba. If she rushed up, she would be walking into a trap. Ning Shu looked at the green-faced Hanba. If you were a ghost, I would send you to hell. But zombies weren't ghosts. Ning Shu touched the empty pouch. She had prepared so much in vain. But the difference in strength was too big. Damn, this mission made Ning Shu's claws numb. If she couldn't even survive, how could she counterattack? When she killed the 1,000-year Ghost King, it was thanks to the Soul Pearl. With the ghost-catching techniques she learned in the modern era, she couldn't do anything to Hanba. Ning Shu repented. She had to learn more skills in the future. Now she was forced into a desperate situation. The mission was getting harder and harder. Ning Shu felt that it was very strenuous. Hanba raised his hand. Black and red fingernails grew out. He stared at Ning Shu. Ning Shu couldn't bear to look. It was too ugly. Ning Shu was forced to jump from the bridge into the lotus pond. Hanba watched Ning Shu swim from the shore. Ning Shu felt the water level getting shallower. When he stood up, the water only reached his waist. And the water level was still decreasing. Sure enough, wherever Hanba went, there would be a drought. The water evaporated to God knows where. The water level got shallower. In a while, it reached Ning Shu's thighs. The roots of the lotus were exposed. Ning Shu hurriedly crawled out of the pool and gulped down a mouthful of water. Looking at Hanba who was glaring at him, Ning Shu was about to cry. He shouted at Hanba across the pond, "Let's discuss." Hanba did not even bother with Ning Shu. He walked towards Ning Shu from the bridge. Ning Shu turned and ran into the coffin hall. The hall was dazzling. The floor was filled with glass coffin fragments. Ning Shu saw a talisman stuck on one of the fragments. Ning Shu quickly picked up the talisman. The talisman on the talisman was very complicated. Ning Shu felt dizzy just looking at it. The cinnabar on it was very beautiful. Hanba saw the talisman in Ning Shu's hand and growled. He seemed to be vigilant and didn't dare to approach Ning Shu. Ning Shu noticed Hanba's abnormality and immediately placed the cinnabar on his chest. Hanba's throat gurgled as he stared at the talisman in front of Ning Shu. Ning Shu heaved a sigh of relief. Finally, there was something that could restrain Hanba. Ning Shu lowered his head and looked at the talisman. He traced the talisman and recalled the talisman's spell book from his memory. The purpose of the talisman was to suppress. Could it be that someone knew that this person would become a zombie Hanba and suppressed him? Ning Shu, then why did they have to bury him here? Why didn't they just destroy the corpse and destroy the evidence? Ning Shu had a strange idea. This talisman was to suppress Hanba. When Hanba was not strong enough, he couldn't come out. When he was strong enough, he wouldn't be afraid of the talisman's suppression. This was to prevent him from being destroyed before he was strong enough to come out. Now, Hanba's combat strength was too strong. Thinking about the various things in this tomb, it was terrifying. Opening the mechanism required human blood and a heart. Making it so bloody, it was probably to awaken the person in the coffin. If this was the Grand Tutor's plan, then he had included the Jian nation's royal family. Gu Rui's efforts were all for naught. He felt that he would never love again. Ning Shu and Hanba were in a standoff. Hanba didn't dare to come forward. This meant that the talisman was still a threat to Hanba. Ning Shu was anxious. This standoff wasn't a solution. How was she going to leave this place? Ning Shu leaned against the wall. The wall was painted with gold powder. But in this situation, gold was useless. Ning Shu took out some dry food from his bag. The dry food had been soaked in water and was soft. Chapter 1091. Ning Shu didn't mind. Because Hitterigami had come out, there was no more water in the tomb. This way, it wouldn't choke on the water. Hitterigami stared straight at Ning Shu. It had a green face and fangs, and its black and red nails shone. It was too much of a psychological challenge. Ning Shu couldn't eat anymore. Ning Shu tried to communicate with Hitorigami. It was said that all things had a spirit, but he didn't know if Hitorigami, who only knew how to drink blood, had a spirit. Ning Shu asked, "Do you want to eat?" Ning Shu raised the dry food in his hand and stared at Hitorigami. Hitorigami stared at Ning Shu with an expressionless face. Ning Shu thought for a moment and threw a lump of dry food to Hitorigami. Byaji was thrown in front of Hitorigami, and it broke into pieces. Hitorigami stretched out its long nails and poked at the foaming dry food. When it poked at the dry food, it poked a hole in the hard ground. Ning Shu's face trembled. She was so scared. Was she going to fail this mission? If she failed, she would be obliterated. Ning Shu wasn't afraid of obliterating after all, he had the amulet. However, Ning Shu was afraid that if she was obliterated, she wouldn't be able to return to the system space. She was even more afraid that she would never be able to return to the system space. Ning Shu's heart was heavy. She didn't expect 2333 to do much for her, but this was not a situation that Ning Shu wanted to see. If she knew that fusing the two orbs would result in this situation, Ning Shu wouldn't have fused them. Now, she had a home that she couldn't return to. After eating, Ning Shu took out the medicine bottle. The bottle was already filled with water, and the medicine had turned into a viscous liquid. Ning Shu rolled up her sleeve and saw a bloody hole in the wound. Ning Shu poured the medicine on the wound. Ning Shu hissed. If she had the chance to go out, she would definitely pierce many holes in Gu Rui's body. After Ning Shu finished treating his wounds, he noticed that Hitorigami was staring at him. Ning Shu was also staring at Hitorigami. Ning Shu was about to become cross-eyed. The corners of his mouth twitched. "Take it and play with it." Ning Shu rolled the empty bottle to Hitorigami. Hanba poked the medicine bottle, and the medicine bottle shattered into powder. Ning Shu was speechless. Under the illumination of the luminous pearl, the entire cemetery was as bright as day. The previously withered grass was once again lush and green. Ning Shu was incomparably astonished. Once the drought demon appeared, the land was barren for thousands of miles. The grass could still grow, and some flowers could also bloom. What kind of power was this? What kind of treasure was this? Where was this treasure hidden? Ning Shu didn't care about treasures. She just wanted to leave this place right now. "Can you let me go? Do you know where we can get out? Do you know you're ugly?" After talking for a while, Ning Shu stopped talking. Her mouth was dry from talking and there was no water to drink. Hitorigami's throat made gurgling sounds as if there was old phlegm in its throat. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Hitorigami took a step towards Ning Shu. Ning Shu immediately removed the talisman from his chest and raised it towards Hitorigami. Hitorigami stopped in its tracks. There was some fear in its eyes as it looked at the talisman. Ning Shu slowly moved out of the palace. Hitorigami followed behind Ning Shu. Dear Lord, even Ning Shu wanted to kowtow to Hitorigami. Could they forget about each other in the pugilistic world? Ning Shu was really sick of meeting such a powerful but brainless thing. There was no way to communicate at all. Hitorigami's throat made gurgling sounds. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. "Who the hell knows what you're talking about?" Ning Shu held up the talisman and kept retreating. Hitorigami and Ning Shu maintained a distance that was neither too far nor too close. Ning Shu did not know how long his talisman could last. Hitorigami was afraid of this talisman now. Perhaps after a while, she would not be afraid anymore. Her time of death would come. Even if this talisman worked, there was no food here. She would starve to death sooner or later. She wanted to get out. Damn it. Strength was important. Very important. If she was strong enough, she could beat this thing to death. She would not be in this situation where she could neither advance nor retreat. The mission this time was very difficult. Plus, she did not know the plot beforehand. Ning Shu and Hitorigami confronted each other for a long time. He was a little tired. His body was very tired. Ning Shu did not know whether it was day or night outside. He also did not know how long he had been in the tomb. Ning Shu's body was tired. Plus, he was injured. His body could not take it anymore. Although he had Qi Jin to heal himself, This kind of tiredness could not dissipate. Ning Shu really wanted to sleep. Ning Shu sighed. He held the talisman in his hand and sat down. Hidorigami's throat made a gurgling sound. It seemed to be talking. However, they were different species. They could not communicate smoothly. Ning Shu was really tired. However, there was a scary thing next to him. All the hair on his body stood up. He was tense. Ning Shu supported his chin with one hand and held the talisman with the other. The surroundings were quiet. It was very quiet. There was no sound at all. It made people's hearts numb. Hidorigami also sat on the ground like Ning Shu. It stared straight at Ning Shu. Ning Shu's heart couldn't stop beating wildly under his penetrating gaze. However, it did not look like it was going to attack her. This made Ning Shu sigh in relief. Ning Shu, 2333, who had been silent for a long time, finally spoke. Ning Shu was so excited that he almost jumped up. He quickly asked, "How is it?" "They are still fighting each other. With my power, there are 3 sides. No one can do anything to the other." 2333's voice sounded very tired. "All my power has been used up. Some of the system space's functions are also damaged. I can't repair it for now. Thank you for your hard work. Can I go back to the system space now?" Ning Shu asked. Ning Shu did not care about those functions. She felt that it was good to be able to go back to the system space. At least she would not become a lonely ghost. "You can go back to the system space," 2333 said. "It's good to be able to go back." Ning Shu was very satisfied. After receiving 2333's news, Ning Shu felt relieved. Ning Shu looked at Hidorigami. He was not so scared. Even if she did not complete the mission and was killed, she could go back to the system space. "There may be a wood element world origin here," 2333 said. "Wood element?" Ning Shu jumped up excitedly. He finally found the world origin. No wonder plants could grow here without sunlight. It was because of the wood element world origin. "Where is it?" Ning Shu asked. "I don't know. You can look for it yourself. I suggest you install a treasure hunting system. That way, the treasure hunting system will be able to detect any treasures," 2333 said. Ning Shu could not figure out how many strange systems 2333 had recommended to him. First, it was a location system. Now, it was a treasure hunting system. He suspected 2333 was getting a commission. "Then I will install it." "Sorry. Because some functions of the system are missing, I can't install it." Ning Shu was speechless. Then what was he playing at? The world origin existed in all kinds of ways. It could be a tree, a blade of grass, or a rock. Chapter 1092. How was she supposed to find the origin of the world? Ning Shu had a headache. "How about you touch the thing and I'll use you to find the origin of the world?" 2333 said. He sounded tired. Ning Shu was a little embarrassed. When the system was ready, he had to install a treasure hunting system. It was too troublesome. "Okay." Ning Shu nodded. Ning Shu stuck the talisman on her back and crawled to explore every corner of the graveyard. "Tell me when you feel it," Ning Shu said to 2333 as he searched. Hidorigami stood up and followed behind Ning Shu, watching Ning Shu search everywhere. Ning Shu crawled in front and Hidorigami followed behind. Every time Hidorigami got close, Ning Shu would raise the talisman to scare him and then continue to search everywhere. Ning Shu didn't know how long he had been searching. There were small wounds on his hands. Ning Shu remembered that Cheng Mingzi's divination said that it was in the northwest direction. He went to the pool and searched. "This is it," 2333 said. Ning Shu touched a budding lotus. The lotus was emitting a sweet smell. "Is it a lotus or a lotus root?" Ning Shu asked. "It's a whole plant. Dig it out and don't break it," 2333 said. Ning Shu took out his dagger and carefully dug the soil. Because of Hidorigami, the soil was dry and cracked. Ning Shu kept an eye on Hidorigami as he dug. Whenever Hidorigami got close, Ning Shu would raise the talisman. Ning Shu used the talisman as his protective talisman. Ning Shu spent a lot of time and finally dug out the lotus flower with its stem and leaves, as well as the white and tender lotus root. Who knew that this thing was the origin of the world? The origin of the world was a strange existence. Ning Shu held the lotus and it disappeared. 2333 took it away. Ning Shu let out a long breath. Although these quests were a little tricky, it was worth it to get the origin of the world. What will you do if you run out of energy? Ning Shu asked. I can only accumulate it slowly. If I encounter some system quest that allows me to devour the system, my energy will slowly recover. Ning Shu nodded. I understand. If I encounter a suitable mission, I will do it. With this, 2333 was back to square one. Ning Shu patted the dust off his hands and saw that the surrounding grass and trees were withering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Without the support of the wood elemental world's origin and the drought demon, the entire graveyard was soon devoid of any greenery. The magnificent palace looked as if it had been built in the desert. Ning Shu didn't know what time it was and felt very hungry. He took out some dry rations from his bag and ate them. She had to save the rations. She had to think of a way to survive and leave this place. The beast next to her could go without food and drink, but she couldn't. In such a situation, energy was very important. If he had fasting pills, he could survive without eating or drinking for a month. But there was a problem with the system. She didn't even go back and would be thrown into this world. Ning Shu would exchange some fasting pills every time he entered the world to prevent such a situation from happening. Ning Shu chewed slowly and stared at Drought Demon. Drought Demon's nails scraped the stone like tofu, but he didn't know if it could open the stone door. He thought of a plan and let Drought Demon open the stone door. If it really succeeded, she would run away immediately. Drought Demon would probably run out and harm the world. Wherever it went, there would be a drought. And it would suck blood. Ordinary people could only be slaughtered. If it was too reckless, it would definitely lead to strangulation. Drought Demon sucked blood? Only low-level zombies sucked blood. Drought Demon should get rid of such low-level interests. Ning Shu stuffed the last bit of rations into his mouth and stared at Drought Demon. Drought Demon stared at Ning Shu and made a gurgling sound from its throat. If there were wisdom pills, he would give this thing too. In the future, before entering the mission, he would exchange for a few wisdom pills. If he encountered creatures with low IQ and couldn't communicate, he would give them 2 wisdom pills. She was now a high-level mission enforcer. Anything could happen in a high-level plane. There could be all kinds of strange worlds. There were all kinds of strange creatures. Ning Shu felt a little speechless. The zombies in the romance novel plane could be so beautiful that they angered the heavens and people, but here they were so ugly. If the male lead grew up to be like this, with a green face and fangs, there would be old phlegm in his throat that couldn't be spat out. The girl would definitely not be able to eat it. Ning Shu decided to rest for a while. His body was too tired. Ning Shu pinched the talisman paper on his forehead and dozed off. After a while, he opened his eyes to take a look. Drought Demon was staring at Ning Shu from not far away. Ning Shu was no longer afraid of Drought Demon's penetrating gaze. Maybe he wasn't looking at him, but his gaze was empty and unfocused. Ning Shu closed her eyes again. She didn't know how long it had been since she rested. It was as bright as day here. She didn't know the time at all. Ning Shu, who was in a daze, suddenly woke up. She looked left and right but did not see Hanba. Where did he go? Ning Shu quickly looked behind him. He was afraid that Drought Demon would sneak up on him from behind. Drought Demon wasn't behind him. Did he leave? Ning Shu removed the talisman paper from his forehead and ran towards the stone door. He realized that there were scratches on the stone door. One of the stone doors was already open. Ning Shu was delighted. He quickly went out of the stone door and walked through the water. When he reached the outside of the tomb, the sky was just beginning to brighten. The moonlight was like gauze. Ning Shu mobilized the energy in his body and stepped on the stone wall to fly out of the tomb. He was finally out. Ning Shu took a deep breath. The taste of freedom. She and Gu Rui were the only ones alive. Ning Shu understood that the people Gu Rui brought, other than his own subordinates, were all useful. Emojuechen was foolish and naive. He really thought that he could get the secret manual. In the end, he was sacrificed. That old Taoist priest, Qing Mingzi, came for the source of the world. Furthermore, he knew the exact location of the tomb. Gu Rui wouldn't let him live, much less give him the treasure. Indeed, Gu Rui was more ruthless. The most important thing now was to return to the Fong family. He was afraid that Gu Rui would think that he was dead and take over everything in the Fong family. This wasn't a small sum. Old Master Fong had worked hard for it his entire life. Ning Shu turned around and saw a drought demon standing not far away. He was carrying someone on his shoulder. He looked like a hunter. Ning Shu quickly took out the talisman paper and raised it at drought demon. He slowly retreated and prepared to run. Escaping was more important. He didn't care about what drought demon would do. Hitorigami put down the person on his shoulder and the person fell to the ground with a thud. Ning Shu glanced at the hunter. He was still alive, but he was unconscious. Could it be that drought demon wanted to bring him to the tomb to enjoy him? Chapter 1093. Ning Shu did not expect to bump into Hitorigami after exiting the tomb. She had to add more luck points in the future. Ning Shu felt that her fate was full of misfortune. There was no one else in the world who was as miserable as her. She had to add more luck points. Hitorigami's throat gurgled as it stared at Ning Shu. It did not know what to say. The moonlight shone on Hitorigami's body. He breathed in the essence of the moon. The real Grand Tutor was already dead. The Hitorigami in front of her was just another species born from the corpse-nurturing land. It had no intelligence and acted on instinct. Ning Shu's face trembled as she said, "Continue sucking blood. I won't disturb you anymore." Ning Shu mobilized her chi and ran away like a gust of wind. She swung her legs and ran. Hitorigami ran like the wind. Ning Shu chased after it. Ning Shu turned around and saw Hitorigami running beside her. Ning Shu was speechless. What did it want? Ning Shu stopped and stared at Hitorigami. He could not kill it and could not get rid of it. Hitorigami approached Ning Shu. Ning Shu quickly raised the talisman. Hitorigami grew long black and red fingernails. Ning Shu reached out his hand. Was the dagger in the coffin? Ning Shu quickly retreated. He conjured a spell and raised the talisman. Ning Shu's heart trembled. He felt that Hitorigami was much stronger than before. It stole the light of the sun and the moon. It absorbed the essence of the mountains and rivers. It could absorb the essence of the moon. Hitorigami did not seem to be afraid of the talisman in Ning Shu's hand. Its long black and red fingernails touched the talisman. The talisman began to burn. Ning Shu quickly threw away the talisman. He was stunned. The talisman was gone. Was her blood going to be sucked by Hitorigami? Ning Shu made a prompt decision to run. Hitorigami followed Ning Shu. How tiring. If you want to kill me, just say the word. Ning Shu turned around and saw Hitorigami staring at him. It didn't look like it wanted to eat him. Ning Shu stopped in his tracks. Ning Shu stopped, and so did Hitorigami. They stared at Ning Shu. Could it be a fledgling complex? But when Hanba came out, there were so many people present. Ning Shu slowly moved 2 steps towards Hitorigami. Hitorigami's throat emitted a gurgling sound. It stared at Ning Shu but did not launch an attack. Ning Shu gathered his courage and took 2 more steps forward. Hitorigami did not react. Ning Shu took another 2 steps forward. Hitorigami did not attack either. Ning Shu stretched out his hand to touch Hanba. When he touched Hanba's hand, Hanba's throat made a gurgling sound. Seeing Hitorigami not attack him, Ning Shu breathed a sigh of relief. Although he did not know why Hitorigami had not attacked him, he did not have to constantly worry about his life. Ning Shu retracted his hand. Hitorigami grabbed Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu was speechless. Could it be that she also had a female lead halo that could mesmerize zombies? But why wasn't it an extremely handsome one? Why was it such a horrifying species? The species was not the key. The key was the appearance. Hitorigami's hand was icy cold. Ning Shu was held by it. It was as if she was in ice water. Moreover, Yin Qi drilled into her body. Ning Shu quickly withdrew his hand. Hitorigami stared at Ningshu. Ningshu used his hand to blow away his snot, proving that he only wanted to withdraw his hand to blow away his snot. Although her life was no longer in danger, what was she going to do with a burden? If Hitorigami went out like this, he would be treated as a monster and killed. Moreover, it would implicate her. She was with a monster. If she was not a monster, what was she? Her heart was tired. Ningshu returned to the front of the tomb, where the hunter was still unconscious. Ningshu directly carried the hunter away. This place could not be discovered by others. Ningshu threw the hunter far away from the tomb. He pulled up the hunter's pants and pinched the hunter's philtrum. Seeing that the hunter was about to wake up, Ningshu took the clothes and activated his unique martial arts. He stepped on a tree branch and flew away. Hitorigami stared at Ningshu. Seeing that Ningshu had run away, he followed behind Ningshu. They ran quickly in the forest. Back at the tomb, Ningshu and Hitorigami stared at each other. Ningshu took out the pants for Hitorigami to wear. Walking like this, Ningshu suspected that he would grow a needle's eye. Hitorigami held the pants. He did not know how to wear them. Ningshu took the pants. Raise your legs. Hitorigami's throat gurgled. Sit down. Ningshu demonstrated sitting down. Hitorigami sat down. Ningshu put the pants on his legs. After a while, he finally put on the pants. It was fine as long as it could cover his body. Hitorigami reached out and wanted to hold Ningshu's hand. Ningshu quickly put his hand behind his back. If Hitorigami held it, Chi would enter his body. Hitorigami made gurgling sounds. He seemed to be dissatisfied. Long black and red fingernails grew out. Ningshu was speechless. Ningshu reached out and patted Hitorigami's head. Good boy. Hitorigami also reached out and patted Ningshu's head. Ningshu was dizzy. He had a concussion. Ningshu sat cross-legged on the ground. Hitorigami also sat cross-legged on the ground, mimicking Ningshu's posture. It was indeed the story of a fledgling. It felt like Hitorigami was treating her as his mother. Wet nurse again? Ningshu said to Hitorigami, don't suck blood now. You need to absorb the essence of the sun and moon. Hitorigami stared at Ningshu. Ningshu knew that he didn't know anything. Watch. Ningshu began to cultivate the ultimate martial arts and began to absorb spirit chi. After cultivating for a while, Ningshu opened his eyes. He turned around and saw Hitorigami absorbing the essence of the moon. The moonlight formed a beam that shone on his body. Ningshu was speechless. This was a racial advantage. It couldn't be compared. Ningshu confirmed once again that the talisman from before was to suppress Hitorigami and prevent it from being born prematurely. If it was an ordinary zombie, it would have been burned by fire. Hitorigami was much more powerful now. Hitorigami looked at Ningshu, as if asking if he was doing the right thing. Ningshu didn't know when he could leave this place. He didn't know how the Fong family was doing. Wherever she went, Hitorigami would follow. If they went out, it would only cause chaos. Ningshu looked at Hitorigami beside him and rolled his eyes. He had to think of a way to get rid of him. Ningshu was a little annoyed. Interacting with this kind of creature with low intelligence was like teaching a child. Ningshu really wanted to beat him to death with his bad temper. If not for the fact that he couldn't beat him. He was screwed over by these naturally evil guys. He spent the whole night cultivating. When the sun rose, the sun shone on Hitorigami's body. Zombies were afraid of light. He didn't know if Hitorigami was afraid of light. Hitorigami was a little uncomfortable under the direct sunlight, but he could tolerate it. Then he actually began to absorb the essence of the sun. Ningshu was speechless. He didn't want to say anything else. Ningshu took some dry food from his bag to eat and watched Hitorigami cultivate. He could absorb the essence of the sun and moon without any secret cultivation manual. He was so jealous. Hitorigami probably reached his body's limit. He stopped absorbing the essence of the sun and moon and stared at the dry food in Ningshu's hand. Ningshu gave Hitorigami a pinch of dry food. Hitorigami stared at the food in his hand and imitated Ningshu, stuffing the food into his mouth. After eating, he still stared at Ningshu. Ningshu gave him the last bit of dry food in his hand. He clapped his hands and stood up, preparing to look around to see if there was anything edible. Chapter 1094. When Hanba saw Ning Shu leave, she immediately stood up and followed after Ning Shu. Ning Shu stared at Hanba. I need to give you a name. Little Ming. No, someone's already called Little Ming. The zombie ancestor is called Jiangchen. You might as well be called Jiangchen. Ning Shu patted Hanba's head. Hanba also patted Ning Shu's head with Pia, 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 causing Ning Shu to stagger. Ning Shu was infuriated. She slapped Jiangchen across the face, then quickly ran away. Jiangchen chased after Ning Shu, a puzzled expression on his face. Jiangchen, only I'm allowed to pat your head. You're not allowed to pat mine, Ning Shu said fiercely. Ning Shu stayed with Jiangchen like this, teaching him how to speak. Now, Jiangchen could call Ning Shu by his own name. Ning Shu suddenly felt that this scene was somewhat familiar. Back then he'd lived like this with Little Ming. Little Ming. Ning Shu felt like so much time had passed. He wondered how Little Ming was doing. Zombies and zombies should be the same species, right? Ning Shu spent every day foraging for food in the mountains. He felt like he'd lost a lot of weight. His skin was taut and supple and he felt great. Although he wasn't as frail as a willow branch swaying in the wind, his muscles were firm and healthy. Ning Shu had always been worried about the Fang clan. He'd wanted to sneak away, but Jiangchen had caught him like a drug-sniffing dog. Thankfully, Jiangchen no longer drank blood. His face didn't look so ferocious. He'd probably gotten used to it. Where are you going? Jiangchen's voice was slurred. Ning Shu pointed in the direction of the town. I'm going to buy some things and clothes. You wait here. Jiangchen could vaguely understand what Ning Shu was saying. He stared fixedly at Ning Shu. Wait for me here. You can't follow me. There are a lot of bad people outside. Ning Shu took the gold from the tomb and prepared to buy something in the town. Now that Jiangchen understood, he wouldn't stay by his side. If he suddenly appeared in the crowd, it would definitely cause a commotion. Ning Shu's clothes were already in tatters, making him look like a beggar. Ning Shu went straight to the town's clothing store and bought a few sets of clothes. He also bought clothes and a hat for Jiangchen. It was a large hat that covered his face and had black cloth around it. Ning Shu carried 2 big bags of clothes and bought some food. When he passed by the inn, he saw Gu Rui. Gu Rui was followed by many people. Someone was talking to Gu Rui, which made Gu Rui look serious. After not seeing each other for a while, Gu Rui had a lingering sense of depression. Ning Shu saw Gu Rui with so many people. Was he going to explore the tomb? As if sensing Ning Shu's gaze, Gu Rui turned to look at Ning Shu. He stared at Ning Shu for a while, then looked away. Ning Shu had lost a lot of weight and his face was covered in dirt. It was normal that Gu Rui didn't recognize him. Ning Shu thought for a moment, then went to buy 2 more baskets. Ning Shu carried a large wicker basket in each hand out of the small town and ran towards the tomb. When he ran back, he saw Jiangchen craning his neck to see Ning Shu. Ning Shu smiled savagely. Ning Shu hugged his things and jumped into the tomb. Gu Rui is coming, he said to Jiangchen. Let's hurry up and move the gold. He couldn't give Gu Rui all that gold and silver. Jiangchen stared expressionlessly at Ning Shu. Why do you have to hide it? Kill it. Ning Shu slapped his thigh. That's right, now he had the ultimate weapon, Jiangchen. Why should he be afraid of Gu Rui? He was overthinking things. This time he had to kill Gu Rui. If he didn't, he'd be out of luck. Ning Shu took out some clothes from his bag and stuffed them into Jiangchen's hands. Put them on. Jiangchen hugged the clothes, then took them off in front of Ning Shu. Then he put on the new clothes. Ning Shu looked away. This was his son. There was nothing he couldn't see. Jiangchen put on the clothes. Combined with his green face and fangs, he was truly unsightly. Ning Shu took out a hat and put it on Jiangchen's head. The black cloth fell all the way to his chest, covering Jiangchen completely. His face wasn't exposed, but he looked like a person. Jiangchen wasn't used to wearing hats, so he took them off. Ning Shu put the hat back on Jiangchen's head. In the future, if you don't become as beautiful as me and look like a person, don't take off the hat. Everything in the world had a counterbalance. For something as powerful as Jiangchen to be born, it had to have a counterbalance. For example, someone even more powerful than Qing Mingzi. If Jiangchen really went out with the green face and fangs, he'd definitely be killed. Jiangchen obediently didn't take off the hat. Ning Shu took out a roasted chicken from the paper bag. He tore off a drumstick and ate it. It had been a long time since he'd eaten meat. The meat was too fragrant. This is something humans eat. Ning Shu tore off a drumstick and handed it to Jiangchen. Jiangchen took the drumstick and ate it. Ning Shu asked, "What does it taste like?" "It doesn't taste good." Ning Shu shrugged. Perhaps zombies and humans had different tastes. Jiangchen stopped eating after eating a drumstick. Ning Shu finished the entire chicken all by herself. She wiped the grease off her hands on the ground, then flew up to a tree branch and fell asleep on it. Jiangchen sat cross-legged and cultivated. Moon essence poured into his body. What a hard-working, diligent child. The next morning, someone came to the tomb. It didn't take much thought to know it was Gu Rui. Gu Rui brought a group of people with him. This time, he brought an old Taoist with him. The old Taoist's hair and beard were snowy white, but his face was ruddy and without a single wrinkle. Ning Shu crouched in the tree, curious. Where had Gu Rui found so many outsiders? This Taoist looked stronger than Qing Mingzi. Gu Rui had probably invited him to deal with Jiangchen. Gu Rui looked at Jiangchen, who was dressed in black and wearing a hat. He frowned and asked, "Who are you?" "And who are you?" asked Jiangchen. Gu Rui looked around, his gaze fixed on Jiangchen. "This person isn't human," said the old Taoist. "Are you Hanba?" "No, I'm human," retorted Jiangchen. "You don't breathe, you don't have a heartbeat. How can you be human?" "You're the one who's not human. Old Taoist, you vile creature who brings disaster to the world. Watch as this humble Taoist subdues you." The old Taoist was astonished that Jiangchen could speak. But an anomaly was an anomaly. The old Taoist drew a talisman in the air. It flashed with golden light and shot towards Jiangchen. Jiangchen raised his hand. Long, sharp, black-red fingernails grew from his fingers. He slashed at the talisman, causing it to slowly dissipate. When the old Taoist saw how easily Jiangchen destroyed his talisman, his expression grew grave. "Taoist, how is it?" asked Gu Rui, frowning. "This vile creature is very powerful. This humble Taoist needs to contact my fellow disciples." The old Taoist shook his head. "You can't enter the tomb today?" asked Gu Rui. The old Taoist's expression was grave. "It's a bit difficult. This vile creature absorbed the essence of the sun and moon. This humble Taoist can't deal with it alone." Chapter 1095. Gu Rui stared at the tomb. He knew that the monster in the tomb might have been killed by the zombie, but he was still unwilling to give up. Gu Rui stared at the fully clothed Jiangchen. He touched the life-death bell in the pouch at his waist and asked the old Taoist, "Taoist, can the life-death bell control him?" "It's a little difficult." The old Taoist shook his head. This drought demon wasn't an ordinary zombie. It had its own thoughts. Ning Shu stared at Gu Rui. Gu Rui was truly ambitious. He actually wanted to control Jiangchen. What a great idea. Ning Shu's heart was filled with killing intent. This time, she must kill Gu Rui. Gu Rui had wanted to kill her several times. An eye for an eye. Jiangchen charged at the old Taoist. The old Taoist formed an incantation gesture, sending talismans flying at Jiangchen. Some of the talismans hit Jiangchen's body, causing it to emit smoke. Jiangchen saw that the old Taoist was difficult to deal with, so he decided not to deal with the old Taoist first. Instead, he dealt with ordinary people. With a swipe of his long fingernail, one of them died. When the old Taoist saw Jiangchen kill someone right in front of him, he couldn't bear to lose face. Today, this humble Taoist will enforce justice on behalf of the heavens. If an evil creature like you goes out, you'll definitely bring disaster to the common people. Jiangchen grabbed one and tossed it at the old Taoist, interrupting his incantation. After one round, half of the people that Gu Rui brought over were gone. The smell of blood was strong. Gu Rui's expression was unsightly. He stared fixedly at Jiangchen and pulled out the bell of life and death. Gu Rui shook the bell of life and death at Jiangchen, muttering an incantation. Gu Rui's face was pale. Using the bell of life and death to control Jiangchen was too much. Gu Rui groaned as blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. The crack on the bell of life and death cracked open a little more. Jiangchen roared. His clothes and hat flew off, revealing his naked body and ferocious fangs. Jiangchen charged at Gu Rui, reaching for the bell of life and death. Gu Rui's sharp nails touched the bell of life and death. The fine lines on the bell of life and death quickly covered the entire bell of life and death. The bell of life and death shattered into pieces. Gu Rui flew out and crashed into a tree, spitting out blood. Gu Rui wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His eyes were a little dim as he looked at the fragments of the bell of life and death on the ground. It was a good opportunity. Ning Shu pulled out the dagger, jumped down from the tree and rushed towards Gu Rui. She had to get rid of Gu Rui. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble. Gu Rui turned his head and saw Ning Shu. He looked shocked and stood up while covering his heart. Fang Lanxin, you're still alive? Ning Shu did not answer Gu Rui's words. He took the dagger and stabbed it into Gu Rui's heart. Gu Rui's martial arts were excellent. Even if he was injured, he would not be stabbed by Ning Shu. Gu Rui blocked Ning Shu, and the two exchanged punches and kicks. Fang Lanxin, how are you still alive? Gu Rui asked in disbelief. Ning Shu kicked toward his heart. Gu Rui blocked it with his hand and took 2 steps back. Gu Rui glanced at Ning Shu and the ferocious-looking Jiangchen. A strange smile appeared on his face. You're having an affair with a zombie. Bullshit. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Then why are you having an affair with your daughter? Ning Shu was even more determined to kill Gu Rui. If he let Gu Rui leave this time, who knew how much his reputation would be tarnished? Saying that he was having an affair with Jiangchen? Damn, they were pure mother and son. If he didn't kill Gu Rui, he and Jiangchen would become rats on the street. Are you angry from embarrassment? Gu Rui looked at Ning Shu. For the sake of survival, you're having an affair with a zombie? Have an affair, my ass. Ning Shu circulated the qi in his dantian and attacked Gu Rui with his dagger. After a period of cultivation, Ning Shu was much stronger than before. Gu Rui was also injured. He was no match for Ning Shu. Gu Rui's subordinates saw that their master was at a disadvantage. They all attacked Ning Shu. Jiangchen's hands had long fingernails. With each swipe, he took a life. He killed everyone who attacked Ning Shu. Jiangchen's body was hit by a talisman. Smoke rose from his body. Gu Rui watched as his subordinates were as weak as paper in Jiangchen's hands. They were all destroyed. Gu Rui's heart was in turmoil. Ning Shu immediately grasped his weakness. Ning Shu stabbed the dagger into Gu Rui's heart. Blood sprayed Ning Shu's face. Gu Rui pushed Ning Shu away with a palm. He looked down at the dagger, which was buried in his heart. He immediately turned and ran. Ning Shu watched Gu Rui run. He froze for a moment, then hurriedly chased after him. Damn, he could still run after being stabbed in the heart. What a genius! Ning Shu kicked Gu Rui in the back. Gu Rui collapsed to the ground. Fang Lanxin, don't forget that you're my wife. Gu Rui looked at Ning Shu. His face was covered in sweat. His hair was plastered to his face, making him look exceptionally beautiful. Gu Rui's face was simply a work of art. It was flawless. I've never acknowledged you as my husband. Ning Shu reached out and pulled out the dagger in Gu Rui's heart. Blood sprayed out. Ning Shu touched Gu Rui's right chest. Through his chest, he could feel the beating of his heart. As expected, this guy's heart was on the right side. Gu Rui's face paled. Panting heavily, he said, Fang Lanxin, we can work together. Because he'd lost too much blood, it took a lot of effort to speak. His breathing was heavy. Ning Shu smiled slightly. At a time like this, even panting was useless. Ning Shu raised the dagger. Gu Rui's pupils constricted. He wanted to struggle, but Ning Shu stepped on him. He couldn't move. With a puchi, the dagger sank into his chest. Gu Rui spat out a mouthful of blood. He clutched Ning Shu's foot tightly. In the end, he breathed his last. As soon as Gu Rui died, Ning Shu felt the string in his heart suddenly snap. His entire body relaxed. His whole body went limp. Ning Shu pulled out the dagger and stabbed again. Gu Rui didn't react. Ning Shu checked Gu Rui's pulse and breathing. He confirmed that Gu Rui was dead. Before long, Gu Rui and her subordinates were all dead. Only the old Taoist was left. The old Taoist stared at Ning Shu. You associate with demons and kill your own kind. How are you different from animals? It's none of your business, Ning Shu said coolly. Who are you to me? What right do you have to interfere? It's none of your business, said Jiangchen. Stubborn. The old Taoist's expression darkened. He cast a talisman. Ning Shu pushed Jiangchen aside. He formed a seal with both hands and cast a talisman at the old Taoist. The two talismans collided. With a bang, they exploded like fireworks. When the old Taoist saw the talismans, he froze. If you're a fellow Taoist, why are you with such a demon? Drought demons are undying and indestructible. Outside the 6 Taos, they're existences of nature. Birth, old age, sickness, and death are natural, said the old Taoist. Since they're outside the 6 Taos, what does their existence have to do with you? Birth, old age, sickness, and death are natural. But people who pursue immortality go against nature. Jiangchen didn't meddle in other people's business. Chapter 1096. These things are inhumane and rely on drinking human blood. They'll only bring disaster to the world, said the old Taoist, his expression dark. Only by completely exterminating them can we protect the world. If you're stubborn, I'll have to kill you as well, said the old Taoist coldly. Then he muttered an incantation, his expression solemn. His hands formed seals so quickly that a fierce wind blew around them. Ning Shu's expression was solemn. He used the most powerful talisman he'd learned from the book Qing Mingzi had given him. Ning Shu felt all the tendons in his body twist and his muscles swell. The talisman was abnormally complex. Ning Shu spat out a mouthful of blood. The talisman he'd formed collided with the old Taoist talisman, creating a powerful shockwave. Ning Shu and the old Taoist were both sent flying. Ning Shu spun twice in the air before landing firmly on the ground and spitting out a mouthful of blood. Jiangchen appeared behind the old Taoist. His finger pierced through the old Taoist's back. With a forceful swipe, the old Taoist's body was split in half. Ning Shu let out a long breath and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Ning Shu's entire body was weak. He sat on the ground, panting. Ning Shu walked over. Ning Shu waved his hand. Put on your clothes first. If you want to blend into the human world, you need to wear clothes. Jiangchen grabbed some clothes from a nearby bag. Ning Shu rested for a while, then went to check on Gu Rui's corpse. It was already a bit stiff. Only then did he confirm that Gu Rui was truly dead. Gu Rui was too mysterious. Even though he was dead, he didn't seem like he'd die so easily. Move the corpse away. We can't bury it here, said Ning Shu to Jiangchen, who was putting on his clothes. This was a corpse-nurturing area. They couldn't bury the corpse here. Perhaps in a few decades, more zombies would appear. Ning Shu found a place and had Jiangchen dig a hole. Then he had Jiangchen carry the corpse over and toss it in. Ning Shu watched from the side. He saw Gu Rui in the hole. Gu Rui was a ruthless man. He'd use any method to achieve his goals. Such people were the most difficult to deal with. When Jiangchen saw Ning Shu staring at Gu Rui, he asked, "Are humans considered good-looking?" Ning Shu nodded. He has the grace of a dragon and the grace of a phoenix. His natural talent is natural, and his face is as smooth as a flower. He is a handsome man. Jiangchen stared at Gu Rui. Ugly. Ning Shu shrugged. Perhaps zombies and humans had different aesthetics. After burying these people, Ning Shu took some gold from the cemetery and prepared to return to the Fong family. She wondered what Gu Rui had done to the Fong family. Once we're outside, you can attack as you please, got it? Ning Shu said to Jiangchen as they walked. Can't I take off my hat? Asked Jiangchen. No, when you grow into a handsome man, you can take it off. Ning Shu shook his head. Can't you keep your fangs? I can accept it, But it's prettier when it's exposed, said Jiangchen. Ning Shu was speechless. As expected, zombies had different aesthetics. Perhaps their fangs were a symbol of strength. Exposing them was a display of strength. When they arrived in town, Ning Shu bought a carriage. However, they encountered a difficult situation. Jiangchen's presence startled the horses. Animals had keen senses. The horses and donkeys either went crazy or fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth. Before they even left town, Ning Shu sold the carriage for a low price. She felt stifled. So now they had to walk back? What's wrong with the horses? Asked Ning Shu. They're afraid of you. Ning Shu bought a large bag of dried food, some medicinal ingredients, and a simple map. She had to think of a way to get back. Jiangchen wore a hat. Although it was eye-catching, it didn't cause any trouble. They had to trudge back on foot. She felt stifled. Along the way, if Ning Shu encountered someone who was sick, she'd save them. Sometimes she'd even act as a ghost catcher. On the way, they encountered all kinds of people. Jiangchen watched from the side. Ning Shu said, "They're so weak." That's just how life is. It's fragile, but it's also strong. After walking for almost 2 months, Ning Shu had worn out several pairs of shoes. Finally, they reached the Fong clan's residence. While they were hurrying, Ning Shu couldn't travel with others. She was afraid that someone would recognize Jiangchen. If that happened, they'd attract the attention of those demon slayers. Ning Shu picked up the door knocker and knocked on the door. She knocked twice before the door opened. A servant opened the door. He didn't look familiar. "I'm Fong Lanxin." "Open the door," said Ning Shu. "What Fong Lanxin? I don't know you. Hurry up and leave." The servant waved his hand. "This is the Fong clan's residence. Are you a new servant?" Ning Shu had a bad premonition. The Fong clan? That's old history. All of the Fong clan's businesses and residences were sold to our master, said the servant proudly. Ning Shu, fuck. I really should whip Gurue's corpse. Little brother, please inform your master that I'm the original master of the Fong clan. I'm here to retrieve the ancestral tablets. Ning Shu handed the servant a piece of silver. The servant waved the silver. Wait here. Why don't you just go in and kill them? Said Jiangchen. We're in human territory, so we have to abide by human rules. They didn't do anything wrong by using real money to trade for the Fong clan's possessions, said Ning Shu. The main culprit was Gu Rui. Jiangchen fell silent. After a while, a skinny middle-aged man emerged. Ning Shu asked, Are you a descendant of the Fong clan? Yes, I am, said Ning Shu. I'm here to retrieve the ancestral tablets. Take him to the tablets, said the middle-aged man to the servant. The servant led Ning Shu to the ancestral hall, then pointed to a corner. There. Ning Shu followed the servant's finger and saw the Fong clan's ancestral tablets scattered haphazardly in the corner, covered in dust. Ning Shu walked over, wiped the dust off the tablets, and placed them in his bag. Hurry up and leave after you take them, said the servant. Ning Shu carried the tablets to the main hall to see the middle-aged man. I'd like to buy back the Fong clan's residence and shop. Is that possible? The middle-aged man shook his head. I'm not selling. We can discuss the price, said Ning Shu. I'm not selling no matter how much you pay. The middle-aged man waved his hand. Since you've taken the items, you may leave. Ning Shu felt somewhat helpless. He left the Fong clan. Do you want the house? Asked Jiangchen. I do, but it doesn't matter if it's gone, said Ning Shu with a smile. Ning Shu placed the Fong clan's ancestral tablets in a temple filled with incense. He donated a large sum of money so the monks could recite Buddhist scriptures every day. While in the temple, Ning Shu met an old monk. The old monk seemed suspicious of Ning Shu's identity. He warned Ning Shu not to spend too much time with an otherworldly item, as it would affect his lifespan. When Ning Shu saw that the old monk wasn't so angry that he wanted to exterminate the evil spirit, he sincerely thanked him. Ning Shu had methods to prevent Yin energy from entering his body. Chapter 1097. After leaving the temple, Ning Shu let out a long sigh. Without the Fong clan, he'd have to fight for the Fong clan. Ning Shu had changed into men's clothing. She held a cloth sail with the words, "Floating to help the world," written on it. In any case, she still had medical skills. She couldn't let them go to waste. She'd become a traveling doctor. But she'd walked around and seen everything. Wherever Ning Shu went, Jiangchen followed. He'd seen the world with Ning Shu. He'd even learned medicine and talismans from Ning Shu. As a traveling doctor, Ning Shu's primary job was to deliver babies. Although she was wearing men's clothing, it was obvious she was a woman. In ancient times, men and women were forbidden from delivering babies. It was difficult for male doctors to deliver babies. As a woman who knew medicine, she was naturally the best candidate. In ancient times, when women gave birth, they'd give birth. If they didn't give birth, they'd die. So, even though she could cure hundreds of illnesses, she'd become a gynecologist. She'd even wandered around the palace to deliver the empress, who'd had a difficult labor. Ning Shu decided to change her name to gynecologist. Ning Shu didn't even know how many places she'd traveled or how many sights she'd seen. She didn't stay in one place for long, because Jiangchen. If she stayed too long, people would see through her. What's more, she was a drought machine. Ning Shu didn't want to be hunted down all over the world by a group of people who wanted to slay demons. And from the looks of it, Jiangchen didn't want to leave her. It was best to just watch the clouds roll by. With no chores to tie her down, she could dig up herbs whenever she came across them. At night, she could watch the stars. Unfortunately, she didn't have a camera. She could take selfies and show off. She wasn't fat anymore. Her body was well-proportioned. Although she wasn't very thin, she was well-proportioned. Jiangchen carried a backpack and a pole. Ning Shu didn't have anything on her. She was relaxed. She counted the days. It was about time she left this world. Although Jiangchen was a burden, in general, everything was over. Jiangchen was becoming more and more like a person. His outstretched hands were much fairer, not as bruised as before. However, Jiangchen, who didn't eat or drink, never took off his hat. Ning Shu guessed that Jiangchen would eventually resemble a person. One morning, when Ning Shu opened the door, he saw a man in green with ink-black hair standing in front of the fence. It made this small farmhouse's courtyard shine brightly. His clothes fluttered in the breeze, and his hair swayed slightly. Just by looking at her back, one could tell how magnificent she was. Ning Shu stared at the handsome man. The handsome man turned around, and Ning Shu shouted, "Fang Lan Xin." Ning Shu choked on his saliva. "Gu Rui? Jiangchen, I am Jiangchen." Jiangchen stared expressionlessly at Ning Shu. Ning Shu was speechless. "Why did you make yourself look like Gu Rui?" Ning Shu frowned. Jiangchen mimicked Ning Shu and said in a high-pitched voice, "He has the grace of a dragon and the grace of a phoenix. He's a handsome man." Ning Shu was speechless. Don't mess with his face. I'm traumatized." Ning Shu covered his eyes. "You can look like whatever you want." Jiangchen put on his hat and asked, "Where are we going today?" "The woman next door is already in labor. She'll definitely go into labor in 2 days," Ning Shu said. Jiangchen grunted in agreement. Sure enough, the pregnant woman next door went into labor a day later. Her husband came to invite Ning Shu to deliver the baby. Ning Shu put on his medicine box and went to deliver the baby. It took a day for the baby to be born, mainly because the fetal position wasn't right. In ancient times, conditions weren't very good. C-sections weren't ready, and there was no anesthetic. It was easy to get infected. What's more, ancient people couldn't accept having a hole in the stomach. "Eat." Jiangchen gave Ning Shu a bowl of light noodles. There was also a fried egg at the bottom of the bowl. Jiangchen was becoming more and more like a person. Ning Shu ate the noodles, then lay down on the bed to rest. As soon as he lay down, 2333's voice rang out in his mind. "Mission complete. Do you wish to leave the mission world?" Ning Shu's head spun. When he opened his eyes again, he was already in the system space. Ning Shu stared at the system space with wide eyes. There was nothing in the system space. It was the same as the first time she'd entered it. The sofa, the bookshelf, the bed, the potted plant, everything was gone. "Where's the stuff?" Ning Shu asked. There was still a grapefruit-sized black hole in the wall. The 2 pearls. It's been sucked away. It's already good that the system's space wasn't sucked away, 2333 said. Not bad. Ning Shu rejoiced. Thank goodness he'd placed the peerless martial arts in the system's chest. It hadn't been sucked away. The peerless martial arts were the hope for her world. If it had been sucked away, Ning Shu would have cried her eyes out. After going through 2 worlds and not returning to the system's space, Ning Shu saw that his soul was somewhat dim. He sat cross-legged on the ground and absorbed the pure power of the soul. After he finished cultivating, Ning Shu said, I want to receive the storyline of the previous world. Things were just as Ning Shu had guessed. Fang Lanxin had been sacrificed. That was fine, but Fang Lanxin's soul was trapped in the Bell of Life and Death. The Bell of Life and Death would suck away Fang Lanxin's soul power, soul origin, fate, or merit. It would take away everything. Fang Lanxin's feet were shackled with iron chains. There was no light, no sound, and she was alone. The chains kept sucking away Fang Lanxin's soul power. It made Fang Lanxin feel like she was being tortured in a pot of oil and was being cut into pieces. The more painful it was, the stronger the soul power. Fang Lanxin felt like she'd gone through all the torture. It was a cycle of countless times. Gu Rui married Fang Lanxin. The closer the person was to him, the more the Bell of Life and Death would be controlled. It would be safer for the user. Fang Lanxin was in pain and despair. She sacrificed her soul to counterattack. Sure enough, his guess was close to the mark. Ning Shu opened the attribute panel and looked at the rewards from the previous mission. Number, 2333 Name, Ning Shu, Advanced Mission Taker, Age, 27 points, 27 155/4 000 Soul, 320 HP, 101 Wisdom, 314 Charm, 20 Luck, 169 Mental Power, 210 Faith, 12515 Martial Power, 232 Aptitude, 109 Merit, 13410 Skills. 5th Ring Shooting Technique, Trash Fighting Technique, Beginner Peerless Martial Arts, Beginner Poison Technique, Beginner Business Management Knowledge, Beginner Code Programming, Beginner Lawyer Skill, Master Ghost Catching Skill. Honorary titles, Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Items, Calm Halo, Faith Halo, Amulet 4, Upgraded Amulet 2 Halo, Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing, Sister Model Worker, Chen Shi's Blessing, Leader Halo, Grass Blessing, Best Friend for Life, Miao Miao Miao's Blessing, Savior, Zhu Sunyang's Blessing, Founding General, Chen Ermiai's Blessing, Beauty-in-Law, Chen Ning's Blessing. Chapter 1098. Mission 1. Complete when Hanlei's wish. Destroy Tang Yu and buy Feifei's reputation. Mission completion rate, 100%. Obtained 5 million points, 50 attribute points, and 1,000 faith points. Mission 2. Complete Fang Lanxin's wish. Escape from purgatory. Mission completion rate, 70%. Obtained 4 million points, 30 attribute points, 3,000 faith points, and 50 merit points. Ning Shu looked at the second mission. Fang Lanxin's mission completion rate was only 70%. It was a bit low. The reward wasn't much either. Ning Shu asked, "Is there a problem with this mission?" Although she escaped from purgatory, she now has a follower, Zhengsh. Fang Lanxin is afraid of him. If she goes back, she will have to get along with Jiangchen, 2333 explained. Ning Shu was speechless. Fang Lanxin wants to start over. She's very satisfied with your mission. At least you killed Gu Rui, 2333 said. Ning Shu was speechless. He didn't know what to say. Fang Lanxin wants to get rid of her current situation. If someone turns the tide for her, she won't be bound by the organization and can reincarnate. So that's how it is. Ning Shu nodded. Not everyone could accept an existence like Jiangchen. Ning Shu didn't think much of it. He had seen grass, seaweed, and zombies. Nothing was strange. These people weren't necessarily scarier than humans. Everything had a spirit. At least until now, Ning Shu's mission was to deal with the resentment of people. Since she wants to reincarnate, She only needs someone to turn the tide for her? How is that possible? She gave her soul. Mission enforcers can't just casually turn the tide. Someone else did it for her before, but she wasn't satisfied. Not everyone is willing to give up their soul. If they don't think it's worth it, they will refuse to pay, 2333 said. We're not idiots. Think more when you do the mission. Oh, got it. Ning Shu distributed the attribute points from the 2 missions. Although it wasn't much, he received the world's origin. Number, 2333 Name, Ning Shu, Advanced Mission Enforcer. Age, 27 points. 2, 715, 000, 000/4, 000, Soul, 32010 HP, 10110 Wisdom, 31420 Charm, 20 Luck, 16920 Mental Power, 21010 Faith, 125000300 Combat Power, 23210 Potential, 10910 Merit, 1341050 Skills, 5th Ring Shooting Technique, Trash Fighting Technique, Beginner Level Peerless Martial Arts, Beginner Level Poison Technique, Beginner Level Business Management Knowledge, Beginner Level Code Programming, Beginner Level Lawyer Skills, Master Ghost Catching. Skills. Honorary Titles, Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Items, Calm Halo, Faith Halo, Amulet 4, Upgraded Amulet 2. Halo, Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing, Model Worker, Chinshi's Blessing, Leader Halo, Grass's Blessing, Best Friend for Life, Meow Meow Meow's Blessing, Lifesaver, Ju Su Nyang's Blessing, Founding Female General, Chin Ermiai's Blessing, Lawful Beauty, Chin Ning's Blessing. After distributing the attribute points, Ning Shu suddenly had a question. Why didn't Jiangchen attack me? He thinks of you as one of his own, 2333 said. Your godmother's halo is shining brighter and brighter. Ning Shu, what the hell is a godmother's halo? Ning Shu was speechless. If there's a godfather, there's a godmother. Those without sentience, no matter how strong or weak they are like newborn babies. They need someone to baptize them and guide them, 2333 said. Like a wet nurse. A wet nurse? Ning Shu almost burst into tears. She thought she had such great charm, that she was special. But the result was like this. I was the last one to know the truth. But having a godmother's halo was better than nothing. Ning Shu decided to open the screen and see what happened to Jiangchen. If Fang Lanxin hadn't returned, the body would have died. Fortunately, she'd lost so much weight that she'd become a well-proportioned beauty. But the screen was black. Ning Shu tried again, but it was still black. What's going on? The function is broken. Ning Shu, what else is broken? The chat system. The shopping mall's exchange system. The virtual space channel. Ning Shu, basically everything that can be broken is broken? Can't you see your status panel right now? Ning Shu, oh no, I can't exchange for fasting pills, medicine, or other things. I can't go to the virtual space? Ning Shu hammered the ground. The shopping mall's exchange system was broken. She could go to the virtual space's shop to exchange for things. But the channel to the virtual space was broken, which meant she couldn't exchange for anything. Ning Shu quickly accepted reality. She was already at the bottom of the valley. Nothing could be worse than this. She'd only get luckier in the future. Then when can you fix these functions? Ning Shu asked. I'll have to take my time. I don't have any energy right now. The energy from the 2 missions you did with the system has already been used up. 2333 also felt bitter. You're too unlucky. You even dragged me into this. 2333 was speechless. Whoever marries a sentimental person like you will be the unluckiest person in the world. Ning Shu let out a long sigh. She opened her status panel and checked how many amulets she had left. She had to use them sparingly. 4 possession amulets and 2 upgraded amulets. That meant she had 6 lives. She could be killed 6 times and not die. She had to use them sparingly. She didn't know when the shopping mall's exchange system and the virtual space channel would be fixed. Ning Shu took out the ultimate martial art from the system box. The ultimate martial art was getting thicker and thicker. Ning Shu flipped through the pages. There were more and more chi patterns. The world's origin is for you. 2333 said as he controlled a lush lotus flower to appear. The flower swayed gently, emitting a refreshing fragrance. Ning Shu grabbed the lotus flower. The lotus flower gradually shrank. Finally, a stream of light entered the ultimate martial art. Ning Shu opened the book and saw that the world's origin was printed on the ultimate martial art. It was very three-dimensional. As soon as she opened it, she saw a lotus flower standing on the book. It was beautiful and cute. Ning Shu stretched out her hand and touched the lotus. Her heart was filled with joy. She had finally obtained a type of world origin. She was one step closer to building a world. The system space was empty. The books were all sucked away by the black hole. Ning Shu couldn't read any books. She couldn't exchange for anything. She was used to reading a book every time. It was disgusting to not read for 3 days. Chapter 1099. Jiangchen entered the room. Seeing the person on the bed, he walked over and nudged her. "Hey, get up and eat." The person on the bed didn't move. Jiangchen nudged her again, then reached out to check if she was breathing. Then he checked her pulse. Jiangchen froze. After a moment of thought, he wrapped the body in a blanket and carried it back to the tomb. Jiangchen placed the body in the tomb, then remade the coffin. He placed the body inside the coffin and sealed the tomb. After doing this, Jiangchen took out a cloth sail and changed it to a floating one. He walked the world. Every once in a while, Jiangchen would return to the tomb. The corpse in the coffin hadn't decayed, and her face was peaceful. After seeing the corpse, Jiangchen would continue to walk the world. Jiangchen no longer wore his hat, revealing his exquisite face. His face was different from Gurue's, and he had a completely different temperament. Ning Shu was cultivating, but he had no books to read. Plus, the system space was empty. He couldn't go to the virtual space to play. It was too much. He'd better do the mission. "Let's see who the next client is," said Ning Shu 2333. 2333 hesitated, then said, "You can't see the client right now. Do you see the black hole on the wall? The client can't enter." "Ning Shu, put me in the mission," said Ning Shu with a smile. Ning Shu felt dizzy. He felt his soul merge with his body. When it was completely merged, Ning Shu opened his eyes. His head was a bit dizzy, and he was sweating profusely. It seemed he'd caught a cold. Ning Shu sat up and looked around. He was in a dormitory. Ning Shu was the only one here. Ning Shu felt his throat dry. He picked up the glass beside the bed. It was filled with cold water. Ning Shu gulped it down. Ning Shu began to receive the plot. The original host was called Du Bing. She was a fourth-year university student. Yesterday, she'd braved the rain to attend an interview. Now she had a cold. This story really shocked Xiao Tianquan. The reason was Du Bing's boyfriend, Gu Qiu. Gu Qiu was an ordinary man. His looks were ordinary, and his status was ordinary. But life was full of ups and downs. Gu Qiu unexpectedly became the assistant of the superstar, Ji Beiyi. Ji Beiyi was arrogant and handsome, like the sun god Apollo. In addition, he was a mixed blood. Women of all ages would be charmed to death. Ji Bei was extremely arrogant, but he was very popular. Gu Qiu had become Ji Bei's assistant because she didn't like the ordinary-looking Gu Qiu and always made fun of her. Gu Qiu completed Ji Bei's task without any complaints. Although Gu Qiu was a man, he was more gentle, kind, and attentive than the average man. Ji Bei had a special feeling for this man. Ji Bei was very concerned about Gu Qiu's every move. Ji Bei was very irritable, and he disliked Gu Qiu even more. His rabies flared up at the slightest provocation. Gu Qiu was left in a sorry state. Gu Qiu sometimes complained to Du Bing that his boss was hard to please. Du Bing saw that her boyfriend was working so hard. He was on standby 24 hours a day. There were no holidays. She asked Gu Qiu to resign, but Gu Qiu refused. Ever since she started this job, Du Bing had fewer chances to see her boyfriend. She didn't even have the chance to have a meal with him. Ji Bei was conflicted and conflicted. He really didn't want to admit that he had been attracted to a man who had nothing and was extremely ordinary. Ji Bei was like a schizophrenic. One moment he was naked to flirt with her, and the next moment he was angry. Once, Ji Bei got drunk at a drinking party. While he was drunk, he couldn't control the surging emotions in his heart and did that to Gu Qiu. Gu Qiu. Du Bing. Du Bing's man was snatched away by a man. This wasn't the worst part. After they had sex, Ji Bei pretended to be very disgusted so that Gu Qiu wouldn't take it to heart. Gu Qiu really thought that she had been bitten by a dog. When Ji Bei saw that Gu Qiu really didn't care, he was furious. Ji Bei was too arrogant. He accidentally offended his own company's boss. In order to protect her job, or perhaps because she felt sorry for Ji Bei, Gu Qiu ran to beg the CEO. The CEO Suchi was gay. For some reason, he suddenly became interested in this ordinary man. Then he had sex with Gu Qiu. From then on, he wanted more. Gu Qiu was pulled away by two men. Two men were fighting over a man. Du Bing. Two men were fighting over a man. This wasn't all. There was something even worse. Si Nan, the CEO of another company who liked to go against the CEO, sensed that Su Qi was very special to Gu Qiu. Hence, he approached Gu Qiu and had sex with her. Du Bing. Three men were fighting over a man. Du Bing had never known that her boyfriend was entangled with these three men. Coincidentally, when Du Bing saw that her boyfriend had entered the entertainment industry, she decided to enter the entertainment industry. Du Bing wasn't a beauty. Of course, she wasn't a celebrity. Instead, she applied to be an employee in Su Qi's entertainment company. Su Qi knew that Du Bing was Gu Qiu's girlfriend. He sized Du Bing up with a scrutinizing gaze. In any case, he followed Du Bing with a particularly strange gaze. Du Bing found it very strange and was also very nervous. Many female colleagues even said that the CEO had fallen in love with Du Bing. However, Du Bing didn't think that Su Qi liked her. She was very ordinary. Moreover, Su Qi looked at her with disgust and hostility. Du Bing didn't know where this hostility came from. Every time Gu Qiu came to pick Du Bing up from work, Su Qi stared at the two of them from the corner. He called Gu Qiu away and used Ji Bei's matter to make Gu Qiu go to him. The three men who were entangled with Gu Qiu all hated Gu Qiu's girlfriend. The three men temporarily put aside their hostility and began to deal with Du Bing. The three big shots in the entertainment industry dealt with a woman who had no foundation and no ability. The one who took action was Si Nan, the CEO who had been fighting against Su Qi. He had been seducing Du Bing and had even staged a scene of catching them in the act. Si Nan was gay. How could he have a reaction to a woman? Si Nan asked Du Bing out in advance. He drugged her and forced her to drink. Du Bing was so drunk that she lost consciousness. When they arrived at the hotel, Si Nan stripped Du Bing naked. Then he made himself naked and hugged Du Bing. Then Ji Bei and Su Qi took Gu Qiu to catch them in the act. As soon as Gu Qiu entered the room, he saw the adulterous couple on the bed. Gu Qiu ran away sadly. He had been betrayed by his girlfriend. The three men exchanged a look. When Du Bing woke up, she was naked, but there was no trace on her body. Du Bing felt confused. Then, Gu Qiu wanted to break up with her, saying that she had betrayed their relationship. Du Bing. What did he mean by betraying their relationship? No matter how stupid Du Bing was, she knew that she had been set up. However, she couldn't figure out why a powerless woman like her had the right to make scene and condescend to set her up in person. Du Bing explained to Gu Qiu, but Gu Qiu just didn't listen. Chapter 1100. Gu Qiu had a good temper and knew how to take care of people. Du Bing didn't want to break up with him like this, especially under such circumstances. She had been wronged. Nothing had happened, but she was accused of betraying her relationship with Si Nan. Du Bing said that nothing had happened between her and Si Nan, and that Si Nan had framed her. Gu Qiu was a little gullible. Hearing Du Bing's words, he immediately went to question Si Nan. He asked Si Nan why he had ruined his relationship with his girlfriend. Si Nan openly admitted that he had made Du Bing betray Gu Qiu just because he tried it casually. That was how women were. Women were unreliable at all. Gu Qiu thought it was right, so he broke up with Du Bing in the end. Du Bing was speechless. Why did it turn out like this? She had said that nothing had happened. Seeing that Gu Qiu insisted on breaking up with her, Du Bing didn't care about it. She wouldn't be happy if she forced herself to be with someone who didn't trust her. It was a pity that she had wasted her 2 years of love in college. Du Bing thought that it was just an ordinary breakup, but she didn't expect that she would be fired by the company because she wasn't suitable for this job. She didn't care about being fired because she had a lot of work to do. She could change her boss, but it was exposed on an entertainment website that she had seduced Si Nan and betrayed her boyfriend. There were videos and photos on the website, and her face was clearly visible in the photos, which caused a great stir. Du Bing wasn't a beauty, so it caused a lot of attacks. They said that Du Bing should look at herself in the mirror. How could she seduce a man? She must be crazy to be promoted. In addition, Gu Qiu was Ji Bei's assistant, and Ji Bei was a superstar with a lot of fans, especially female fans. They attacked Du Bing even more because of her. Du Bing became a target of scorn, and many people scolded her on the website. Even when she went out to buy things, people would point fingers at her. When she went to eat in a restaurant, some people who thought they were righteous pretended to accidentally pour the food on her. Du Bing still couldn't figure out why Si Nan would do this to her. She didn't defend him. Du Bing suffered a lot from the online violence. She didn't need to be responsible for her words on the internet, and those moral bitches couldn't wait to kill herself to apologize. Gu Qiu came out and asked everyone to stop attacking Du Bing. Gu Qiu might have come out because he sympathized with Du Bing, but his appearance didn't stop the matter. Instead, it made the situation develop in an unpredictable way. Gu Qiu's generosity made the netizens denounce Du Bing even more fiercely. They said that Gu Qiu was such a good person, but she abandoned her man in order to climb up the social ladder. He even lamented the fact that public morals were deteriorating day by day. This was an era of entertainment to death. No one would try to understand the truth of things. This kind of erotic information brought about a sensory experience that was above all other feelings and thoughts. Of course, the 3 men were also involved in this. Their main purpose was to make Gu Qiu give up on his girlfriend completely. Any means used for love could not be called means. Because of this incident, Du Bing became a celebrity, but a celebrity who was blacklisted. She obviously graduated from university but couldn't find a good job. The company wouldn't want a stained employee like Du Bing, who was condemned by the whole nation. Du Bing could only return to her hometown with her tail between her legs. So what if she returned to her hometown? Du Bing's head had already been labeled as unfaithful and vain. After dealing with the external enemy, the 3 men began to fight for the ownership of Gu Qiu. Gu Qiu almost woke up from the bed of 3 different men. After fighting for it, Gu Qiu didn't want to hurt anyone. In the end, they shared happily. When Du Bing returned to her hometown, she was surrounded by familiar people. When she walked over, they pointed at her and scolded her for being shameless. Her parents were also dissatisfied that their daughter had done such a shameful thing. It wasn't easy to support a college student. Not only did she not bring glory to her ancestors, but she also made them lose face. Du Bing was under a lot of pressure. After a period of time, she was skinny and thin, and her hair fell out in large amounts. Du Bing stayed at home alone, in a trance. In the end, one night, she jumped into a well. Du Bing's death had no effect on the 4 men who were thousands of miles away. They lived happily every day. Du Bing was dead. Someone even posted the video of her funeral on the internet to attract attention. People on the internet suddenly felt that they had won. That shameless woman finally died of shame. This matter was hyped up for a while. Du Bing really couldn't rest in peace even in death. If something really happened, it would be fine. But the problem was that nothing happened. This kind of groundless accusation was placed on Du Bing's head. From then on, Gu Qiu walked to the peak of life. Shooting movies, being a director. With the support of the 3 big gods in the entertainment industry, everything went smoothly. Gu Qiu's talent was put to good use. Behind every successful man, there was a group of men. Gu Qiu became an inspirational man. Standing under the spotlight and at night, under the bodies of 3 men. Ning Shu, what was wrong with these stories recently? Why were the worlds he entered so hardcore? Previously, it was 1 woman and 3 men. Now it was 4 men 4p? Ning Shu's face was indifferent. Gu Qiu was such an ordinary man. How did he attract 3 geniuses? Tamsu's halo was blinding. Although he was an ordinary Tamsu, he was so attractive. He didn't know if Gu Qiu was originally gay or was turned gay. In university, Gu Qiu even dated Du Bing. Could it be that he didn't feel it before, and the 3 men developed the potential of being a little bottom? Gu Qiu was always the one being suppressed. He had never counterattacked. Ning Shu clicked his tongue. How could Gu Qiu have the cheek to blame Du Bing for having an affair and betraying their previous relationship? Gu Qiu was clearly the one who betrayed them first. He said it as if being with a man was not considered betraying their relationship. I hope you guys get sick. Or was Du Bing's psychological endurance too weak? If it was Ning Shu would definitely be alive. Even if he couldn't do anything to them, he would fucking annoy them to death. If they died, there would be nothing left. Even if they died, it would only be worth it if they dragged someone down with them. Du Bing's wish, don't be slandered. Let these people have a taste of being despised by thousands. Ning Shu rubbed his forehead. He felt a headache coming on. This mission was not easy. Ji Bei was a big star and had a group of powerful brainless fans. Anyway, whatever Ji Bei said was right. The world that depended on looks was too scary. One was Su Qi, the CEO of an entertainment company. His words were law in the entertainment industry. The other villain boss, Sinan, was also the CEO of an entertainment company. He had always been at odds with Su Qi. In the end, because of Gu Qiu, Su Qi and Sinan buried the hatchet. Everyone lived happily together, but this relationship was not exposed. After all, there were 4 men. It would be unacceptable. Chapter 1101. The 4 of them were public figures. Ji Bei was a celebrity. Coming out of the closet was not a big deal, but there were so many people sharing a man. The fans were going to make a fuss. Su Qi and Sinan were capitalists. This kind of thing that damaged their reputation could not be publicized. They were all heavyweights. They had the ability to turn white into black and black into white. She had to plan well. Not only did she have to deal with these 3 people, but she could not put herself in danger. After all, these 3 people were not easy to deal with. If she showed any signs, it would lead to cruel means. These were people who were floating in the sea of business. It was not easy for her, an ordinary person, to deal with them. The cause of everything was Gu Qiu. Because she had a boyfriend like Gu Qiu, she ended up in this situation. Damn, I have already fulfilled your true love, but you still have to force me to death. Ning Shu felt dizzy. He got out of bed and took out cold medicine from the drawer and took 2. Du Bing went to Su Qi's company for an interview yesterday. If there was no accident, she would be hired. Ning Shu decided that even if the company wanted to hire her, Ning Shu did not intend to hang around under Su Qi's nose. After taking the cold medicine, he was a little sleepy. Ning Shu did not sleep. He sat cross-legged on the bed, put down the curtain, and began to cultivate. No matter what, he had to cultivate first. When he had the ability to protect himself, he would talk about other things. After cultivating for a while, the phone on the bedside rang. Ning Shu stopped and picked up the phone. The caller ID was Gu Qiu. Ning Shu answered the phone and asked, "What's the matter?" "Nu now. Have you eaten?" Gu Qiu's voice came through the phone. Her voice was indeed gentle. She was a gentle natural. Ning Shu said casually, "I'm going to eat. Have you eaten?" "I ate a little in a hurry." Gu Qiu paused. Her voice was a little strange. She asked, "You went to Chi Feng Group for an interview?" "Yes, there will be news in 2 days." "Isn't it closer to you?" Ning Shu said faintly. At this time, Gu Qiu and President Chi Feng already had a relationship. "That's great. Ji Bei is calling me. I'm going to work now. Take good care of yourself." Gu Qiu hung up. Ning Shu. In fact, there were already problems in the relationship between the 2 of them. They spent less time together and more time apart. In addition, Gu Qiu was entangled with the three men. How could she have time to care about Du Bing? Occasionally, Gu Qiu would call him because he felt that he was not gay and that he had a girlfriend. In fact, Gu Qiu also had the mentality of an ostrich. He always felt that he would get rid of his current situation and return to the life of an ordinary man. After hanging up the phone, Ning Shu was indeed a little hungry, so he went to the cafeteria to eat. They met one of their roommates. When they saw Ning Shu, they all asked, "Ning Shu, are you feeling better?" The three roommates surrounded Ning Shu and were very enthusiastic. Ning Shu smiled and said, "Much better, thank you. Du Bing, I really envy you. Your boyfriend is actually Ji Bei's assistant." Ning Shu smiled and said, "He's just an assistant. He serves tea and drinks. You can spend time with Ji Bei every day. Du Bing, can you ask your boyfriend to get a few autographed photos of Ji Bei, please?" Ning Shu said, "I'll ask Gu Qiu to think of a way. But if she can't get it, I can't do anything. Gu Qiu is just an intern assistant. She can't say anything in front of Ji Bei. It's fine as long as you can get it. If you can't, it's okay. Ji Bei doesn't like autographs. I like Ji Bei's arrogant look. He's so handsome. Ning Shu, handsome my ass. With the halo around him, all his other flaws can't be seen. He's obviously arrogant, but he insists that he's a sentimental person. Isn't that just because of his temper? He offended his boss and had to rely on Gu Qiu and Su Qi to settle it. She pushed her man to someone else. She's so pretentious. Ning Shu listened expressionlessly to these girls discussing how handsome Ji Bei was. After eating, Ning Shu went back to the dormitory to cultivate. There was too little spirit energy in the modern world. Plus, they were in the city, so the spirit energy was even less. Ning Shu made a hand seal and set up a spirit gathering array. It gathered the surrounding spirit energy, but there was still not much spirit energy. Ning Shu quickly absorbed it. Otherwise, the spirit energy would dissipate after a while. After cultivating for a while, there was already qi energy in his dantian. He was sweating all over. After taking a shower, he felt much better. The next day, Chifeng Corporation informed Ning Shu that he had passed the interview and asked Ning Shu to go for an internship. Ning Shu declined, saying that he had other arrangements and would not go to work at Chifeng Corporation. Instead of running to Su Qi to bear his hostility and finding fault with her at work, it was better to hide first. She had to think of a way to deal with these four people. What method could she use to deal with them? She could not let these people suspect her without putting herself in danger. If these people found out, she would definitely not have a good ending. In the end, she would still end up like Du Bing. Ordinary people could not afford to offend powerful people. A human life was nothing in their eyes. The method was not important. What was important was that they had achieved their goal. If Du Bing died, no one would be able to affect Gu Qiu. Ning Shu felt that this kind of love was not cute at all. This kind of perverted love was not cute at all. After thinking for a while, Ning Shu did not have a specific plan in his mind. Revenge was one thing, but the most important thing was to protect himself. These three people were the masters of the entertainment industry. The power of the three people combined was 10 to the nth power. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the bed and continued to cultivate, striving to have the ability to protect himself in a short period of time. In the morning, Ning Shu's phone rang. The others in the dormitory were still sleeping. When the phone rang, it woke the sleeping girls up. Ning Shu quickly picked up the phone. It was Gu Qiu. Gu Qiu said that he was downstairs in the dormitory building. Ning Shu got out of bed and looked at the window. Sure enough, he saw Gu Qiu. Ning Shu put on his clothes and went downstairs. Gu Qiu was dressed very casually. The white turtleneck sweater made him look very gentle. Ning Shu walked closer to take a look. Gu Qiu was really ordinary. He had an ordinary appearance and a normal height. "Why are you here?" Ning Shu asked. "Is your boss willing to let you go?" Gu Qiu smiled gently and exhaled white air from his mouth. "Today is Sunday. I'll accompany you to have breakfast." Ning Shu nodded and followed Gu Qiu out of the campus. Ning Shu's eyes were really uncontrollably looking at Gu Qiu's buttocks. Would his buttocks really not be damaged? Or was Guqiu the kind of person who would be tight no matter what and would not prolapse? Guqiu found a slightly better breakfast shop near the school. Ning Shu said, "Order whatever you want to eat." Ning Shu did not stand on ceremony. He ordered something more expensive and asked hypocritically, "Is it too expensive?" "You order." Although Ji Bei's temper is not very good, the benefits are not bad, Guqiu said. Chapter 1102. With my current salary, I can still let you eat some good food. Guqiu took the menu and ordered a few dishes. Ning Shu said non-committally, "Ji Bei is very good to you. He's already given you everything." Ji Bei has a bad temper. Few people can stand him. Guqiu seemed to be a little guilty and changed the topic. "Why didn't you go to work in Qifeng?" Ning Shu drank the porridge and asked in surprise, "I didn't tell you that I didn't plan to go to Qifeng. How did you know?" Guqiu was stunned and then said, "Don't forget that I'm now in the entertainment industry. I know everything. Besides, you're my girlfriend." Ning Shu didn't say anything. Su Qi must have told Guqiu. It seemed that Su Qi knew about Du Bing's existence in advance and deliberately recruited her to his company. But Ji Bei. It's really Ji Bei. Ji Bei, I'm going to faint. There was a burst of screams in the breakfast shop. Ning Shu turned his head and saw that Ji Bei was surrounded by a group of crazy fans. In addition, 2 men came to Ning Shu's table. Su Qi and Si Nen sat down. Ji Bei also sat down after trying his best to get rid of his fans. He picked up the glass of water that Guqiu had drunk and gulped it down. Seeing Ji Bei drink from Guqiu's cup, Su Qi snatched the cup from Ji Bei's hand with a domineering look. Ji Bei glared at Su Qi. Si Nen stared at Ning Shu with a deep and meaningful look. Ning Shu was speechless. Her 3 love rivals came to snatch a man. As soon as the 3 people came, Guqiu felt uncomfortable and asked, "Why are you here?" Young Master Ji Bei sized up Ning Shu from head to toe with his piercing eyes. He curled his lips and said, "Is this your girlfriend? Why did you leave me and work to have breakfast with her?" Guqiu whispered, "Du Bing is very good." Su Qi stared at Ning Shu. "Why don't you come to work at my company? Are you looking down on me?" Si Nan sneered. "Although I've always thought that Ji Bei's taste is primitive, he's right. Guqiu, your girlfriend is not that good." Ning Shu, damn. These people were here to maliciously insult her. Guqiu came to have a meal with her, and all these love rivals came at the same time. "Guqiu, who are they?" Ning Shu asked Guqiu. Guqiu Ning Shu said, "This is Ji Bei." Ji Bei raised his chin slightly. It was obvious that he was at Sundra. Ning Shu shook his head. "No, I don't chase after celebrities." "Hello, are you Guqiu's boss?" Ji Bei's face stiffened in disbelief. "How can you not know me?" "This is Su Qi, the president of Qifeng Group. He's the boss of the company you interviewed." Guqiu introduced Su Qi. Su Qi's face was cold. He didn't even look at Ning Shu. He stared at Guqiu, who was talking. It was obvious that he was an aggressive man. "This is Si Nan, the boss of Hertz Company." Si Nan and Ning Shu curled the corners of their lips. His eyes were bottomless. It was obvious that he was a two-faced man. The 3 of them all released a powerful aura, which pressed down on Ning Shu. Ning Shu thought it was so unfair. 3 of them were bullying her. Ning Shu took a sip of porridge and asked Guqiu, "Why did the 3 of them come to you?" Guqiu's face was a little red. She didn't know what to say. She was afraid that the 3 of them would expose their relationship in front of Ning Shu. She could only say to Ning Shu, "Are you done eating? I'll send you back if you're done." "I'm sorry, but I have something important to do and I need Guqiu to stay there. I can't send you back. You can go back by yourself." Ji Bei lifted his chin and said to Ning Shu. He then dragged Guqiu away. Seeing Guqiu leave, Su Qi also stood up and left. After a while, only Ning Shu and Si Nan were left at the table. Si Nan tapped the table with his fingers, making a tapping sound. Ning Shu slightly narrowed his eyes and stared at Si Nan. This man was definitely the most two-faced man among the 3 of them. He was sinister and evil. Ji Bei was impulsive and irritable. Su Qi was domineering and cruel. Si Nan was insidious and two-faced. The three of them together were a combination of domestic violence, rapists, and psychopaths. Ning Shu ate an egg roll and asked Si Nan, "What do you want to tell me?" "You're very smart." Si Nan smiled at Ning Shu. Ning Shu shifted her gaze away. She really couldn't get used to this kind of half-smile that made her face cramp up. He thought he was evil and arrogant. "If I were you, I would break up with Gu Qiu. Gu Qiu is not someone you can match," Si Nan said with a slight warning. Ning Shu, was she blind, or did these three men think that beauty was in the eye of the beholder? Gu Qiu was just an ordinary man. He didn't have a charming face or a prominent family background. Basically, he didn't have anything special. Why was he not a good match for Gu Qiu? The only praiseworthy thing was that Gu Qiu had a good temper, but he was easily swayed. It was hard to say whether this was a weakness or a strength. Was the man they liked not an ordinary man? Ha, I don't understand what you're talking about. Ning Shu asked the waiter to take away the leftover breakfast. These things were basically untouched. They couldn't be wasted. Si Nan was not angry. Ning Shu smiled and stood up to leave. His body was slender, and when he stood up, he gave people a great pressure. Ning Shu took the breakfast packed by the waiter and also left the breakfast shop. When Ning Shu carried the things across the road again, a car suddenly rushed towards Ning Shu. The car was very fast. In the blink of an eye, it rushed in front of Ning Shu. Ning Shu was about to dodge, but the car suddenly braked. The wheels rubbed against the ground, making a sharp sound. It almost hit Ning Shu's leg. It was so close. Ning Shu's legs were a little weak, but he calmly looked at Si Nan sticking his head out of the window. "What are you doing?" Ning Shu asked. Si Nan raised the corner of Ning Shu's mouth. "Why are you in the middle of the road? Be careful when you cross the road." Hey. Ning Shu pointed at the luxury car in front of him. Damn it. Ning Shu suspected that Si Nan wanted to kill him just now. The opposite sex would hurt each other, but the same sex was true love. These bastards, he really couldn't stand it anymore. In the last world, there were 3 men, and in this world, there were still 3 men. In the past, they always dealt with 1 man, but now there were more. Was it because it was a high-level plane? It was getting salter and salter. Ning Shu hammered his numb and weak legs and returned to the dormitory. He checked the savings of the original Ning Shu. There was not much money. However, Du Bing was just a student who hadn't worked yet, so she didn't have much money. Ning Shu chewed on her breakfast as she tried to think of a solution. Gu Qiu called Ning Shu and apologized to her. "Ji Bei's savage has a bad temper. He asked me to do some work. I'll treat you to a meal next time." Chapter 1103. Ning Shu ate his breakfast as he listened to Gu Qiu. There wasn't much spirit energy in this world. If there wasn't enough spirit energy, it could be replenished with energy. "Don't worry, your work is more important," Ning Shu said nonchalantly. "Sorry, I'll treat you to Western food next time." Gu Qiu's voice was a little breathless. When it reached Ning Shu's ears, Ning Shu immediately thought it was moaning. Could it be that she was moaning? Ning Shu didn't even have an appetite for breakfast. "Gu Qiu, it's time to work. How long are you going to call?" Ji Bei's voice was unusually rude. "Then I'm hanging up." Gu Qiu's voice was panting as she hung up the phone. Before she hung up, Ning Shu heard a sound. Ning Shu put down his phone and half-eaten egg roll. Then he searched for a detective agency on the internet. Ning Shu wrote down the address, bought a new phone number, and went out at night. He went to a public toilet outside and dressed up. He wore a wig, sunglasses, and a mask. He specifically chose to go to dark places. When he arrived at the private detective agency hidden in the alley, Ning Shu went straight to the point. "Do you know anyone with AIDS?" The private detective said, "That's easy. There's a group of people who like to go to bars." "I want blood," Ning Shu said. "No, you're done for once you touch it." The private detective shook his head. "The price is negotiable," Ning Shu said. In the end, Ning Shu spent all of Du Bing's savings and left a new phone number. Ning Shu said to the private detective, "You can't tell anyone about this. We rely on this for a living." The private detective took the money. "Wait for my notice." Ning Shu left the private detective and went to the public toilet cubicle to change his clothes. He stuffed them into his bag and went back to school. Ning Shu quietly waited for news from the detective agency. Every city had such gray transactions, and this was the fastest way that Ning Shu could think of. Because he had no money on him, Ning Shu found a 24-hour convenience store not far from the school to work as a clerk. In her current situation, she couldn't look for a job with peace of mind. Besides, looking for a job wasn't something that could be decided in a day. She had no money and had to eat. Now that she was a fourth-year student, the school was not strict with her. Besides, fourth year was an internship. Ning Shu was so poor that he had to eat concrete. Ning Shu began to work in the convenience store. After only 2 or 3 days of work, he met Si Nan, who was in a suit. Si Nan took 2 bottles of water and paid the bill for Ning Shu. When Ning Shu saw Si Nan, he was stunned for a moment. Then, he paid the bill as if nothing had happened and gave the water to Si Nan. Si Nan only took 1 bottle and pushed the other bottle in front of Ning Shu. "Here you are." Si Nan looked up and down at Ning Shu, who was wearing a clerk's bib. "A college student working as a cashier? You don't have a good future ahead of you. Come to my company. I'll give you a good job." Si Nan stared at Ning Shu with his deep eyes, which were shining brightly. Ning Shu smiled. "Thank you for your kindness." Si Nan suddenly bent down and looked at Ning Shu at the same level. He was so close that Ning Shu could feel his breath on her face and smell his breath. Ning Shu thought, "So disgusting." Ning Shu suddenly imagined the scene of Si Nan and Guqiu kissing each other. Si Nan reached out and touched Ning Shu's bangs. "You don't look good with bangs." Ning Shu took a step back. They were obviously gay. Why did they pretend to be so intimate? Si Nan probably felt disgusted in his heart. When Ning Shu went to work, Si Nan leaned on the side and waited for Ning Shu. His slender body attracted people coming and going. Some girls even went into the store to buy 2 candies just to see the handsome man. Si Nan, who was busy every day, actually waited until Ning Shu got off work at 9 o'clock in the evening. Then he said that he would send Ning Shu back to school. Ning Shu was speechless. He was seriously sick. Ning Shu ignored Si Nan. As soon as he walked out of the store, Si Nan suddenly pressed his head. Si Nan pressed Ning Shu's head and pressed Ning Shu into his arms. Si Nan was very strong. Ning Shu's forehead hit Si Nan's chest with a bang. "It was very hard. I felt that you were special from the first time I saw you." Si Nan's sexy voice sounded above Ning Shu's head. "Special? Let me show you something more special." Ning Shu raised his knee to Si Nan's crotch. Si Nan immediately let go of Ning Shu and quickly took a step back. Ning Shu just raised his knee. When Si Nan stepped back, Ning Shu straightened his leg and kicked Si Nan's private part. Si Nan snorted and bent over with his legs between his legs. Ning Shu clutched her clothes tightly and put on a defensive look. "How can you suddenly hug me? I have a boyfriend." Ning Shu turned around and ran away like a rabbit. Si Nan wanted to cover his private part, but he was too embarrassed. He leaned against the wall with cold sweat on his forehead and stared at Ning Shu's back. Ning Shu went back to the dormitory and couldn't help laughing. Si Nan began to flirt with him. The next day, Ning Shu didn't see Si Nan when he went to work. Ning Shu guessed that he must have kicked Si Nan too hard. Si Nan was gay. Why did he pretend to be affectionate? When he got off work at 9 o'clock in the evening, a group of gangsters surrounded Ning Shu. "Little girl, it's so late. Is there anyone to accompany you? Come and play with us." These gangsters looked up and down at Ning Shu with a look of lust in their eyes. Ning Shu reached out his hand. Ning Shu grabbed the gangster's hand and pulled it hard. The gangster immediately cried, it hurts, let go. Bitch, let go." Ning Shu kicked the gangsters who rushed to him, and several of them fell to the ground. The car parked on the side of the road rolled down the window, revealing Si Nan's profile. Si Nan smiled in the dark, got out of the car, and walked quickly to Ning Shu. "Who are you?" Get out of here if you don't want to die, Sinan said in a low voice. When these gangsters saw Sinan, they seemed to be intimidated by Sinan's momentum and ran away in a hurry. Then they ran back and looked at the gangster whose hand was caught by Ning Shu. Boss, let go of me. It hurts. The gangster wailed. Sinan said to Ning Shu, let him go. I'm going to send her to the police station. This kind of person has harmed many good women. Ning Shu put some strength in his hand, and the gangster immediately shouted. Sinan shook his head. It's easy to deal with the king of hell, but difficult to deal with the little ghosts. Even if these people are sent to the police station, they will only be detained for a while. When they are released, they will take revenge on you. Let go of me. I swear I will never trouble you again. The gangster immediately said sensibly. Ning Shu knew in his heart that these people were just paid to do this. The hero saved the beauty just right. It was very useful to deal with young female college students. Chapter 1104. These gangsters were waiting for her on her way back to school. Ning Shu would never believe that it wasn't a premeditated plan. And these gangsters really wanted to rape her. Ning Shu let go of the gangster's hand. The gangster held his hand and ran away quickly. I didn't expect you to know martial arts, Sinan said faintly, standing very close to Ning Shu. Ning Shu took 2 steps back, picked up the bag on the ground, and said, this world is too dangerous. I'm a weak woman, and I have to learn to protect myself. After all, there are too many black-hearted bad guys, and it's impossible to guard against them, Ning Shu said with a smile. Sinan didn't comment and said, I'll take you back to school. No, I'll go back by myself. Ning Shu patted the dust on her bag, turned around and left. She could feel that Sinan had been staring at her, and his eyes were sharp. Ning Shu guessed that it was because she kicked Sinan's penis that day, and Sinan asked someone to rape her. Sinan was a gay, and he didn't like men. Besides, Sinan didn't need to do anything to her, and Sinan felt that it would dirty his body. Ning Shu returned to the dormitory, turned on the computer, and saw a post with some photos. It was a picture of Sinan holding her head in his arms. There were also photos of the two of them leaning close to each other, and Sinan touching her hair. The post was posted not long ago. These photos were all taken at night, and the outline of the faces could be vaguely seen. The title was, XXX College Student Seduces the Boss of the Entertainment Circle. Below the post, there were many people cursing Ning Shu. Ning Shu sneered. It was still the same trick, which was quite boring. This should be the appetizer, and there would be a big meal later. First, the atmosphere would be heated up, and then the drama on the bed would be. Ning Shu directly hacked this post. Anyway, she had learned programming skills. It was only a matter of minutes before she hacked it. However, Ning Shu didn't delete the post, but turned it into a virus carrier. Anyone who clicked on this post would be infected by a virus. Didn't you like to watch the fun? I'll let you stare at the black screen, blue screen, and flash screen until your eyes are dazzled. Ning Shu was really tired of these keyboard warriors. They didn't need to take responsibility for their own words and could just spout nonsense. Since he didn't dare to do so in real life, he went to the internet to vent his violent emotions. Ning Shu deepened the color of the photo and saw the two of them hugging. Then, he rubbed his hands and decided to create a serious virus to hack his computer. Needless to say, this kind of title that was full of alluring hints could easily arouse people's curiosity and desire to hunt for beauties. After doing all this, Ning Shu stretched his neck. Now was not the time. He would give them a taste of their own medicine. Ning Shu stared at the computer and saw many accounts entering the thread. Then there was nothing else. Furthermore, there were administrators who wanted to delete the post, but the post couldn't be deleted. The administrator had no choice but to create a post stating that the post was a phishing virus and not to click on it. Of course, there were also those who were not afraid of death and went in, unable to play happily. Using violence to curb violence. After doing all this, Ning Shu washed up and sat cross-legged on the bed to cultivate for a while before going to sleep. The next morning, Ning Shu turned on the computer. The post was still there, but basically no one dared to click on it. Some people even complained that the virus was so powerful that one of his computers was destroyed. Ning Shu made a sign. Sure enough, there would be a day when any skill would be used. She had to upgrade these skills so that it would be much easier for her to do missions in the future. Ning Shu went to the cafeteria to have breakfast in a good mood. There was already news from the detective agency and they asked Ning Shu to go pick up the things. Ning Shu finished her breakfast slowly. Then, she stuffed her clothes, hat, scarf, mask, and glasses into her bag and went to work. When she got off work at night, Ning Shu prepared to go to the detective agency to pick up the things. As Ning Shu walked, she heard footsteps following her like a shadow. She was being followed. Ning Shu chose to walk in a secluded area, but the person behind her kept following her. Obviously, there was something wrong. Ning Shu guessed that the person following her must have something to do with those three people. Ning Shu was not in a hurry to get rid of the person behind her. Instead, she slowly turned a corner and headed toward the food street next to the university town. This was also a bustling night market. There were all kinds of snacks and accessories. Ning Shu bought a barbecue and ate it. Sometimes she would choose from here and there. Sometimes, Ning Shu would pay for something she liked. The night market was dim. Every shed was connected to incandescent lights. Plus, there were many people, so it was quite difficult to follow one person. Ning Shu got rid of the person behind her. She went to a public toilet cubicle and changed her clothes. Then she put on all kinds of disguises and went to the detective agency. The private detective ignored Ning Shu's disguise. Obviously, he was used to it. The private detective gave Ning Shu a bag. The bag was sealed and wrapped with several layers of plastic wrap. It was a bottle of penicillin. There was dark red blood in it. After time, the blood had become very viscous. "This is what you want," the private detective said. The private investigator said, "Our job is done. I suggest that you don't come into contact with this stuff. You have to wear medical gloves. Those disposable gloves will leak." Ning Shu nodded. She put away the things and changed her clothes in the public toilet. She folded the phone card and threw it into the toilet. Then she flushed it away. Ning Shu went back to the food festival. She bought a lot of delicious food and went to school while eating. Ning Shu went back to school without looking back. Ning Shu washed up and sat on the bed. She looked at the things in the bag and then put them away. The next day, when Ning Shu went to work, she met Sinan. Sinan was waiting for Ning Shu in the convenience store. Standing there, she was a beautiful scenery, attracting everyone's attention. Ning Shu sighed. Why were all the perverts she met so good-looking? Were they so good-looking to cover up their perverts? Well, compared with an ugly and wretched pervert, an exquisite and handsome pervert, of course, the latter was more adorable. No matter what she did, she could bear to look at such a face. She was deeply desperate for the world that looked at faces. Ning Shu pretended not to see Sinan and entered the convenience store. Sinan followed Ning Shu into the convenience store. Sinan stretched out her slender arm and pressed Ning Shu against the wall. She looked down at Ning Shu and said, "Break up with Guqiu and be with me. You don't have to work so hard. I'll give you a simple and easy job with a high salary. You don't have to be a cashier." Ning Shu stared at Sinan. Sinan said again, "I'm handsome and rich. I can provide you with everything. You can use any card and buy any brand. You just need to be my girlfriend." Ning Shu said, "Oh, really? Then, I'll take it that you agree." Chapter 1105. To be Sinan's girlfriend? Sinan was handsome and rich. He could swipe his card and buy famous brands at will? How could there be such a good thing in the world? There would be no free lunch. He was just seducing her. What did he mean by, "I felt that you were special at the first sight"? Having seen so many men like Sinan, Ning Shu basically had no longing for love at all. Maybe what she had longing for was the kind of longing and respect, not the love she had seen. Ning Shu stared at Sinan's face. His eyes were deep and charming, and his eyes were shining. He was really charming. Ning Shu's heart was as still as water. Damn, she didn't feel anything for such a handsome person. because she knew that this person was up to no good. He had a handsome face and did the cruelest things. I won't be your girlfriend. Ning Shu bent over and got out of Sinan's arms, getting rid of Sinan's capitan. Why? Sinan was a little surprised. Am I not good enough? No reason. I just like my boyfriend, Guqiu. I think Guqiu is very good. Ning Shu said with a smile. Unsurprisingly, she saw a dangerous light flashing in Sinan's eyes. It was impossible for Sinan to like women. It was inborn and determined by genes. Ning Shu didn't think she had the ability to change a man's genes. She was not so charming. It's your loss not to be my girlfriend. Sinan said lightly, turned around and left. Ning Shu shrugged her shoulders. When it was time to get off work, Ning Shu was about to leave the convenience store. The store manager came over and handed Ning Shu a stack of money. Ning Shu was stunned. The store manager said, "This is your salary for several days. Take it. Our staff is full. We don't need temporary workers." Ning Shu pursed her lips, took the money and asked, "Have you hired anyone? I don't see any new employees." "They are employees sent by the head office." "Okay, you are fired now," the store manager said impatiently. Ning Shu put the money in her bag and went out of the convenience store. She ran into Sinan. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Why was he like a ghost? He could see this guy everywhere. How annoying. Ning Shu ignored Sinan. Sinan stood in front of Ning Shu and asked, "Have you been fired?" Although Sinan was asking, his tone was very affirmative. "What on earth do you want?" Ning Shu looked at Sinan with a sullen face. He was really annoyed by these people. Wasn't it tiring to feign civility? Sinan turned to stare at the 24-hour convenience store and said, "This convenience store company is now mine. I fired you." "So? You're awesome, you're amazing, you have so much money that you can buy a company. If you become my girlfriend, I will let you manage this company. What do you think? What future can you have as a cashier?" Sinan tilted his head and looked at Ning Shu. Damn, the temptation was too great. A fourth-year student could become a manager of a company as soon as he stepped out of society. Sinan was really a tempting demon. Ning Shu had always remembered that if he wanted to reap without sowing, he would lose even more. Du Bing didn't have the ability to manage a company now. "I'll take your silence as a yes." Ning Shu said lightly, "I don't want to manage a company, nor do I want to be your girlfriend." Ning Shu bypassed Sinan and left. He touched his bag and found a bottle of blood in it. Sinan just stared at Ning Shu's back and sneered. Ning Shu returned to the dormitory and looked at the salary of a few days. It was not much. Alas, it seemed that she had to find a new job. In her current situation, it was impossible for her to find a long-term stable job. Only by getting rid of these people could she start a new life. Otherwise, she would be fired if she found a new job. She would be fired if she found a new job. With the capital of these three people, they had connections and capital everywhere to deal with Du Bing. She really couldn't get rid of these four men for the rest of her life. Just because Du Bing was Guqiu's girlfriend, even if she was his ex-girlfriend, there was still something between them. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the bed to cultivate. His mobile phone rang. Ning Shu saw that it was from Guqiu. It was already 10 o'clock in the evening. Guqiu was very busy and basically didn't call much. There must be something wrong if he called so late. Ning Shu answered the phone. Guqiu's voice came out of the phone. His voice was a little low and depressed. "Du Bing, what's wrong with you recently?" "It's nothing," Ning Shu said lightly. "Don't you have anything to tell me?" Guqiu's voice became lower and lower, and it was trembling. "No." Ning Shu shook his head. "Nonsense. There is something between you and Sinan." Guqiu said a little agitatedly. Ning Shu played with his fingernails and said lightly, "I don't think it's a big deal with Sinan. You have become Sinan's girlfriend. You haven't broken up with me, but you are with Du Sinan. How can you do this?" Guqiu said hurriedly, and his voice was very angry. "When did I become Sinan's boyfriend?" Ning Shu said speechlessly. Guqiu took a deep breath and said, "I'll go to you tomorrow morning. Let's talk face to face." Guqiu hung up the phone. Ning Shu looked at the phone and rolled his eyes. Humph, he couldn't bear to see Guqiu's aggrieved look. It seemed that she had been passive all the time. In order to cut off Guqiu's feelings for Du Bing, the three men did things, but Guqiu blamed Du Bing. These four men were abominable, very abominable. Ning Shu turned off his mobile phone, fell on the bed, and slept until 9 o'clock in the morning. It was so cold and it was so comfortable to sleep in the quilt. Ning Shu turned on his mobile phone and saw that there were more than 10 missed calls from Guqiu. As soon as he turned on his phone, Guqiu called him. Ning Shu slowly picked up the call. Du Bing, what's wrong with you? I can't get through to you. Guqiu's voice was full of anger. Ning Shu felt good to be able to make Guqiu angry. I'm downstairs. Come down quickly. Guqiu calmed down and said to Ning Shu, it's a little cold. Wear more clothes. Ning Shu hung up the phone, put on his clothes and went downstairs. Guqiu's nose was a little red because of the cold wind. Ning Shu looked left and right, but he couldn't see anything special about Guqiu. She was really ordinary, very ordinary. What on earth attracted Ji Bei, Su Qi and Si Nan? They were all favored by God. Why did they like Guqiu? Ning Shu rubbed his eyes. He really couldn't see what charm Guqiu had. Why didn't you answer the phone? Guqiu asked. Ning Shu gathered the scarf in front of his face and said lightly, I overslept. Have you eaten? I'll take you to eat, Guqiu said. Guqiu was so gentle that it didn't seem like they were going to break up. Ning Shu and Guqiu went to the breakfast shop and sat face to face. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.